How's your day going?
It is going okay. It's a little bit annoying. My Wi-Fi has been messing up all day, so my computer really isn't working. But I got you on my phone right now, so other than that, it's pretty good.
All right, that works. So, boys, we have an AMA for you guys. We're gonna start off with Leonhardt. He donated for you earlier, specifically, not knowing
Sure.
that it was for the segment. So, Leonhardt, you said you got your questions ready here. Go ahead and paste them. And then anybody who donates during the segment does get priority. We'll try to pick some questions out of the chat too, but of course we can't get them all. It's an AMA, also known as an Ask Me Anything. So no holds bar. You guys can ask Jeff Jones what you want to about his dueling career, maybe about things that he likes. I know he's a big Godzilla fan too.
I am.
Since we're on that topic. So go ahead. Okay, our number one question. To save everyone asking, do you plan on going to X event repeatedly? Which current scheduled events do you plan to go on with Max? And 2, moving away from Yu-Gi-Oh, what else are you passionate about in your spare time?
Okay, so as for events, the 200th obviously, which is coming up very soon. Then we have the Canadian event, which is Niagara Falls. I'm pretty excited about that one. I love Canada. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to most of the American events this year. Max is going to YCS London. I want to go, but I just have a lot going on right now. So speaking about things I am passionate about, I am very passionate about games in general. Right now, I am working with ARG to create our own card game, which is going along pretty well. So a lot of my time when I'm not doing anything Yu-Gi-Oh related is working on this new game, and it's called Argent Saga. So you guys should keep a lookout for that when that comes out.
Also, I believe somebody else just donated saying, let me see here. What's your favorite deck of all time and least favorite deck?
Ooh, so I knew this was probably going to be one of them, so I came prepared with the answers. My favorite deck of all time is Shadal's. I also am a big fan of Sylvans, anything plant related I really like. And also, we were talking about, you guys were talking about this earlier, but I'm also a big fan of Noble Knight, so I'm really sad that the cards really weren't very good that came out. My least favorite deck of all time is Gladiator Beast. I played this game for a long time, and that deck just annoyed the crap out of me in its prime. I just hated it. I couldn't stand it. Even now, I still have a hatred for it, even though it's not good.
Ian did just donate and says, what do you think the meta is going to look like in Columbus? Is Goki definitely the best deck with a high chance of topping, or do you think we're going to see a drop in its representation?
So if the list stays the same, and I am not convinced that it is, I know it's getting very close to that time, but if you, I just have a feeling that we're going to last minute get a list. But yes, Goki will be probably the most represented, followed by Sky Striker and Sky Striker Trickstar. I am personally a fan of the pure Sky Striker deck. I believe that if you have perfect or near perfect play, I think in a extremely long tournament, I think the best deck to play is Sky Striker. Otherwise, I think you should be playing Goki. It's just you get too much value out of using too little cards. So I would go with definitely one of those two.
It also feels like less fragile when you have to stop, I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. There's a lot of where Sky Striker is, you don't have a lot of room for mistakes. You get punished very much for not playing the best. Whereas Goki, it doesn't matter because your cards float and you can keep pushing a turn after turn a lot easier than Sky Striker can. So it's really hard to get punished when playing the Goki deck most of the time.
Alex asks, what's the LM and LM Jeff Jones stand for?
That is a secret. Only a few people actually know what that is.
Ooh, can't let you know that.
Yeah,
Rob
sorry.
Keck says, don't really have a question, just taking this opportunity to support. Donate 75. Thank you, Rob Keck.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Wow, that's crazy. I think I saw a Duel Links question somewhere. Yeah, Robert says, hi, Jeff. At any point in time, would you get into Duel Links? I believe you've played. I've seen you post about it. What do you think the game would need to draw more TCG players into it?
That is a pretty good question. I used to love Duel Links. Up until a few months ago, I was playing pretty avidly. What I really liked about it was the nostalgia of it, how it was, because I played Yu-Gi-Oh since the beginning. So I was like, oh, like I used to know all these cards. I still played these cards back when I was like 15 years old, and it was a much slower paced game, and that's what I really enjoyed. It reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh in the old days when I was just like a kid. And now the game is getting to the point where it's almost like real Yu-Gi-Oh, where the turns end in like 1, 2, 3 turns very easily. And so because of that, I was like, well, I wanted to play this because it was an escape from real Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's just not the case anymore. So I really lost a lot of interest in it. So it's really hard to say what it takes to get more people to play it. I know Duel Links. From talking to people I know, Duel Links does very well in Japan. They make good money off of Duel Links, so they're definitely going to keep supporting it. So I mean, they might have to. I know they're going to have Duel Links tournaments at YCSs now, so that is something that they're doing to try to get more people to play it.
Are you talking about the speed duels or actual tournaments?
No, like I'm pretty sure they're actually having Duel Links. I'm pretty sure Julia posted something about it.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. Like, I could be wrong, but I think I remember posting something in the education about it. No, I'm almost positive now that I'm talking about it that this happened. They should be having Duel Links at tournaments coming up.
That sounds awesome. Alex Buell asks, have you ever had stretches of times where you weren't satisfied with your experience at events, and what have you done to beat and continue succeeding?
Absolutely. I mean, anyone who plays this game, no matter how good you are, has unfortunate things happen to them, or just tournaments don't go the way you want. And I guess I'm going to keep saying I've played this game for so long that I've just learned so much. And it's one of the things that I always tell myself is that there's always going to be another tournament. No matter what the experience is, there's always going to be another tournament. And the biggest thing that's happened to me is that it's like an ongoing joke between me and my friend groups that my nationals or my WCQ experiences I always get very unlucky. And I have done well at so many tournaments, but for some reason, every WCQ something happens and it just doesn't really go my way. I'll lose like right before top cut and like on the bubble, or I'll get in the top cut after doing really well in Swiss, and I'll just draw like unplayable in top cut, and it just cuts the WCQ experience short. And that's probably the most frustrating aspect of it, because obviously like it's most people's goal to go to Worlds. So the fact that that's one thing, it's still my goal now, but that is the only thing you can do is keep playing. That's the only thing you can do when you get discouraged, just keep playing.
I will say something on the note of this. A lot of people look forward to meeting people like Jeff or other tubers or duelists that are notable, and you do have to realize at one point all these people are still competitors, so when they have these kinds of twists and turns at events, there's often times where they're just going to be in themselves and thinking and not really paying attention as much to what's around them. So I'll see people say, like, I've had a rude experience with so-and-so, specifically myself as well, and I remember even a specific instance, and I was like, sorry that I passed you. I literally just wanted to get to the bathroom in Providence and, like, think in a quiet place. So, like, realize that...
That's so funny that you say that. So, to touch on that also, it's also been with me that also sometimes, because I honestly don't like being in large crowds. And so a YCS is like the complete opposite of what I want to be. It just so happens that I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's how it works. So a lot of times I'll get lots of people wanting to come up and talk to me, and I don't mind talking to people at all, signing stuff, just having conversation. But sometimes it's like a little overwhelming for me. And so there was a person recently who was like, oh, like, I always thought you were a good player and I respected you, but this one time, like, you really didn't give me the time of day. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that like that's not like it's not like that, like, personally. It's just kind of how sometimes I'm overwhelmed at tournaments, and so I need to be by myself. And it's when you said about you do like go away, sometimes like it's so overwhelming for me I will literally like go into the bathroom and like sit in the stall for like 5 minutes by myself just to like collect myself and just like stop being overwhelmed from all the stuff that's going on during the tournament.
Oh no, Leonhardt, yeah, he just brought up, as a Canadian judge, I've seen weird things. I'm sure Billy blocked this out of his memory, but I've witnessed a guy follow him to the bathroom and wait outside with a Sharpie.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So again, something else that happened was that one time, this was drink shit-all format. I think it was at Nationals, actually. I walked into the bathroom and I walked up to a urinal and started to pee, and a guy uses the urinal next to me. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm sitting there peeing, and he turns to me and goes, "So how many Annoy Attila should I be playing in my Shadal deck?" And I'm like, really? You couldn't have waited till like after we were done going to the bathroom to ask me this? It was just such a surreal experience.
Get to the washing hands parts first. Oh man. Victory Flare X just donated 25 and says, "Do you have a sort of pet deck that isn't really good, but you really like to mess around with it?"
Ooh, absolutely. Most recently it was Vendrick, and I was like really like dedicated to like trying to like make that deck work. But it's just like what it does is just a worse version of Goki. It still has like 2-card combos that can extra link your opponent and stuff like that, but it's just a worse Goki deck. But I love the Vendor deck. I love zombie cards.
Let's see here. I also see, do you think that prize support for Yu-Gi-Oh! Regionals needs to be more appealing?
It's been the same for so long. I feel like maybe they should change it a little bit.
I have an opinion on this because I've noticed this, and I want to give props to the people in the community that do this. Epic Cards in Game, I know PPG does it also. There's regionals, and it's supposed to be on the tournament host to improve prize support. While I'd like to see more from Konami, in order to improve prize support overall, you should reach out to your local tournament organizer. The worst thing they can do is say no. And like Epic now gives out like 8 different playmats from their store, a trophy, packs. I know PPG does packs. I think I've heard of a PS4 from them. So like there's leaders in the community that are doing that for regionals, but it's not everywhere. It's not like at every single place and point where we have this improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have been to some regionals that I was very surprised because my regionals in Michigan does not do that. We get around between 200 and 350 people for our regionals. And it's just pretty straightforward. There's no extra prizes, but there are places a little bit outside of Michigan that I've been to, and they'll give like 2 boxes to first, like half a box to everyone in top 8, basically. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So those stores like really go out of their way to make sure that their players and their consumers are happy. And I mean, if Konami could come up with something like new exclusive to regionals, like those deck boxes are like fine and whatnot, but after a point, it just gets old.
I really wanted to see like a regional prize card, but like you could even make them either A, upgraded rarities of meta cards, or B, you can make them the useless vanillas even, and collectors would still really want that because they'd only last for one regional season, so there'd be a very limited quantity of that vanilla card.
Yeah, I agree with that. I came up with an idea like a while ago where it was actually for YCSs, where to increase YCS attendance, instead of giving away, you get like, it's $20 and you get 5 packs for entry. Instead, they should create a YCS pack where you only get from YCSs, and it could come with upgraded card rarities you can only get from these YCS packs. Or my idea was, instead of reprinting the prize cards and like how they do like the Battles of Legends and Gold Series and stuff like that, the following year they reprint the previous prize card in this pack. So that's how you would get it.
That would be really cool.
And so I was like, oh, they could do something like that for YCSs, and I'm sure they could do something of a smaller, something smaller like that for regionals, where it's like a regional pack where you only get them for regionals. And I think Dragon Ball does that right now, actually. I'm not going to get too much into Dragon Ball. I'm not a big fan of that game, but Dragon Ball does like regional packs where you only get them from going to regionals. And I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Could easily do that, and it would increase attendance all around because it's the only way you're going to get them.
We have a question and greetings from Mexico of Sableye01. Big fan of Jeff in the channel. Do you have any tips for when you play against Mech Invoke Sky Striker? I'm going to the YCS in Mexico, and after seeing representation of the deck on Chile and Argentina WCQs, and here on some small tournaments, I want to know what I should look for.
That's hard to say. I feel like the Mech Invoked Sky Striker deck is super. It's very glass cannony. It's very. I feel like it's super fragile, but also it can obviously just kill you. That's really hard to say. It's really weak to hand traps. Most of them. Ghost Spell is really good at. I think Ghost Spell is really good right now, and that's another card that is really good against them because it stops Invocation. So it's really hard to say. Just make sure that you have like a good amount of hand traps in your deck, but also, and what event was this for? Was it?
This is for, I believe, the 200th, the Mexican YCS.
Okay, like I said, I have a feeling that like there'll be. The 200th YCS is just such an important event. It's so like it matters so much, and they're streaming it. So I feel like there's just no way that they can stream another event where like Goki is a thing. I can only like. There's just no way that they can do that.
Yeah, it's also 1S donated 6. Sorry, I couldn't donate more money. Never be sorry. Anything you give is big. Like, only donate when you can, guys, and also like take care of yourself too. Like, make sure you take care of yourself before you do give it. I want you guys to eat lunch tomorrow. Okay? What do you look for in a deck for a competitive event? I remember during the UDS in Sacramento, you played Brilliant Fusion Mech Knight, for example. What led you to playing that over the other decks?
This might be a kind of long-winded answer. So when picking a deck, I try to pick a deck that has something I like to call like the deck without path of least resistance. And what I mean by this is it's the deck that does the most by using the least amount of cards possible. And if you look at Yu-Gi-Oh! In the past, decks that have done really well tend to do this. And so normally the decks that the more cards you have to use to make a hand playable, usually the higher power level of the deck is. And the decks with lower amount of cards you have to use are usually a lower power level. And now a good example of this is back in the day when it was Necros format. So Necros had to have a hand of a certain combination of cards to make their best plays, and the deck was very powerful. But then there was Burning Abyss, where it was not as powerful, but all it needed was any 2 Burning Abyss monsters to play. And if it had that, and it could make Dante, you could play the game. So it used a very little amount of cards to make their play, and the rest of their cards were used to stop their opponent, which is why why Burning Abyss won Nationals that year against Necros. It used very little cards, and all the rest of the cards could be used to stop the opponent. And that's a common theme throughout all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, because then it goes again. We went to Zodiac, where Zodiac had this one card that let you do something, and then the rest of your cards were used to stop your opponent. And then this is why when Trickstars kind of like first came out, and people were like, "Oh man, Trickstar sucks. This deck doesn't do anything. It doesn't do enough." Well, it was a deck that could make its plays with just one card and use the rest of its cards to stop your opponent. And it's exactly the same as like Burning Abyss was. So the power level of using that one card to play is not as high as something like Pendulum, where Pendulum required numerous cards to make their best plays, like 2 scales and certain monsters, whereas Trickstar and stuff like that, again, you need one card to play and the rest of the cards you can use to stop your opponent. So to touch on why I wanted to use the Brilliant Fusion stuff is because I thought that Alistair is a one card that lets you play, and I wanted to use the rest of my cards to be able to stop my opponent. So like lots of hand traps and stuff like that. So that's the conclusion I came to, was I can use all these cards that are one card to let me play, and all the rest of these cards can be to stop my opponent. So that's how I came to that conclusion. Sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, that's a good answer. I always like to see how like people that do a lot better in the game perceive a game, and it kind of reminds me of Justin Wong because he can go across fighting games. Like people that view card games as not like the specific cards and interactions between them or even like themes. You're looking at like the base core of the game, which I think is pretty good of like how you're developing your own card game. That you have that viewpoint to come outside and look at that from the outside as like, I don't see this as Six Samurai. I see this as like, okay, this is here and then you summon, or this is an enabler by 1 cards or 2 cards, how difficult it is. Like I love to see that aspect and look at a game rather than just the weaving of like archetypes and like talking about that.
Yeah, right, and you're right. That does come across on all card games, and an example of this is that Pokemon Worlds is fairly happened recently, and one of my best friends competed in it. And while I don't play Pokemon and know all the Pokemon cards, I was trying to help him prepare for the event, and so I had him tell me all the cards and all of the decks and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I think that this, from knowing what he told me, that this Zoroark card and this deck is probably the best because it uses the least amount of cards and gets the most amount of value out of those cards. Whereas all these other decks you're talking about require specific setups, and while they might be more powerful and hit harder, they aren't as consistent in the long run. I think you should use the Zoroark deck. And in the end, he didn't listen to me. And then this Zoroark deck ended up winning the world championship. And so I messaged him and I was like, I told you.
Selza asks, I know a lot of people have problems with the side deck, so what's your advice when building side decks, and what's your process when doing so?
That is a very good question and a very important one. Side decking was something that took me a really long time to get down. Obviously, I played the game for bloody forever, but I do notice that a lot of people have a hard time with this, and it's fairly simple. Once you know what you're doing, and the best way to go about it, in my opinion, is first of all, the most common mistake I see is that people are like, all right, well, I know these are the decks people are going to be playing, so I need a side deck for like these 3 decks. And they're like, all right, what cards are good against these decks? And they're like, all right, well, these 15 cards, like here's these 6 cards for this deck, these 3 cards for this deck, and they just throw them all together. And they're like, all right, I have a side deck. You can do that, but the best way to do that is to look at your deck and decide, first of all, which decks you're going to be playing against. So if you were to take it for right now, you have Goki, Sky Striker, Trickstar, True Draco, and I think there's something else that people have been playing. Oh, Altergeist. So you go down one by one. So like, let's say you're playing a Sky Striker, and you look at your deck and you're saying, all right, I need a side deck for Goki. You look at your deck and say, all right, how many of these cards can come out? How many of these cards can come out when I play against Goki going first and going second? So you go through your deck, you find your cards that are the best to come out that aren't very good going first. And you're like, all right, so I came up with 4 cards. That means you have 4 spots possibly in your side deck to side deck against Goki. So then you don't over side deck or you don't under side deck. You know that like, all right, this is the max amount of cards I can side deck against Goki going first. And you do that for all of the decks that you want to. So then you go and you find the cards that you want to side deck going first and going second, filling in those numbers of spots. And then you try to overlap cards that work against numerous decks. And so does that make sense?
I think it should.
So it's very simple. It's literally just counting. You just look at your deck and say, all right, how many of these cards can I side out versus this deck? All right, that's how many cards I can side deck. And then that's how you fill up your side deck, and then you know which cards to swap in and out.
All right, we have a question. Jeff, how long did it take you to finally be good enough of a player to top an event?
Good enough to... So my first Shonen Jump championship top was in... Oh, God. I think it was 2008, maybe 2009. It's been so long now. Ancient. Yes, ancient.
Decade.
Over 10 years ago. And I had played the game... since I started playing the game when I was, I think, 14 or 15, and so seven. Oh God, 2008. I have to count. I don't even know how old I was back then. So that was 10 years ago. So yeah, I was 17 or 18. 18, I think, maybe. So
we have a blank $100 donation from Eagle Fan. I believe that's Aaron from Zodiac, one of our mods. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, that's awesome. So I guess it took me about 4 years of playing Yu-Gi-Oh to top my first Shonen Jump. But Shonen Jumps were like still in their infancy back then. Like it wasn't like going on for like too long. It was I think it was Crush Card Virus.
Yeah, the layers of the game at this point that you have to learn to go through the steps are so much more than what they were.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it took me about 4 years, but now like you can. Back then, things like Dueling Network and like the resources didn't exist that exist now. So I feel like with hard work, it should take significantly less time to top your first event. All of my friends, when I first started my old store, I made like a new group of friends, and by hanging out with them and helping them more. They all started topping their like first events. They went from like not like topping only locals to like topping regionals within like the first 6 months, and then after that, like a year or two, they were topping YCSs and nationals and stuff like that. So with the right resources and the dedication, you can definitely step up your game within a year or two, even less.
And of course, being able to like, I think one thing that people really struggle with is putting your pride away and watching and listening to explanations of why things are good. And your teacher's not always going to be right in these cases either, so it is good to question things, but never bring like pride or like, you know, answer like you have the answer you think already versus like somebody trying to teach you the game. Like just kind of observe and then observe what other people do, look all around you, and don't try to have so much pride in like, oh yeah, I've got this to like the certain knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you have to be very open-minded. I got people who like ask me questions all the time, and I give them my answer, and they like question my answer. Like, well, that doesn't seem right. This and that. I'm like, well, I mean, if you wanted my opinion, you can like, why did you like? If you didn't like my opinion, like that's fine, but don't ask me for my opinion and then like attack me for it. So that's something that's happened before. I'm like, you need to be very open-minded and you're right. Be willing to watch. And I am honestly not the greatest teacher. I get like frustrated very easily when trying to help people. I think it's better. A lot of my friends and even Max learned from just watching me. And if I had a question, they'd ask and I try to answer. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much spot on what you said.
I have an answer for this one, too. I think it's a very good question. Since Jeff is one of the few active players who played in SJCs and YCSs, which one was more difficult to top? Basically, was the player base more skilled back then or now?
So, do you want me to answer first?
Yeah, go ahead.
It is absolutely 100%. I'm obviously much better now than when I was during the Shonen Jump era. But if I was as good as then as I am now, I feel like I would probably never lose a tournament. However, the way it is now, the cards are so powerful right now that they don't care how good you are. So it's definitely much more difficult now to be consistent. And I'm like surprised. Like I've topped like the last 5 events I played in, the last like YCSs, nationals, and the UDS, and I was honestly kind of surprised that I've been doing so well because like Goki like just needs like 2 cards, sometimes 1, and you can't play the game. And it doesn't matter how good I am, if I don't have a hand trap, I can't stop that. So the fact that the cards are so powerful now and completely can ignore like the skill gap between opponents, it's definitely way harder to win now consistently than it was a long time ago.
I think one thing with a long time ago, also, you see the teams and the share of information isn't as out there. You don't have YouTube. You only have message boards. You don't have this Facebook group popping off over a tech in some random tournament over here and super analyzing it like you do now. So, like, the spread of information back then was literally the event is where the information's happening. You have metagame, then there's calm for 3 weeks. The people showing up at the next jump are playing 3 week ago lists, and the really good teams have just gone into the not only the answers, but then the answers to the answers that they've come up with to the meta. And that's why you see, like, even with Billy's second one, just 3 cards changed in his deck helped him defeat almost everybody playing his old deck. Like, it's and I also want to say back then, like, people considered you were playing a different list at certain points when you only played 5 cards different. Like, that's how big of an impact, like, like event to event would have.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The information can spread much faster now, whereas you could have a secret at a deck and no one would know up until the event. Whereas now, it can just spread so easily. So, like, the secrets don't really. It's very rarely you have some sort of secret deck popping up with a secret deck. So it spreads like wildfire.
I remember in when Monarchs were viable and Hoban used Zaborg, and, like, I thought that was insane. And somebody's already crying out in my comment section, OCG already did it, and it's like, he's the first person over here. There hasn't been even like a sound to me of anybody considering this, and he tops the tournament, and the reaction is OCG did it. It's almost like Simpsons did it. Like, oh man. It's crazy, like, how many people, like, consider, like, that kind of, like, things. Like they take real pride in keeping up with what happened over in places like that now, and then, like, talking about it, basically.
Yeah, I just touched on that, like, a little bit. Also, the OCG, I became very that I look to the future very often, so I'm constantly checking what OCG has done, what cards they've got. Yu-Gi-Oh! Encyclopedia. I basically know, like, almost every card, and it's gotten, like, hard over the years as, like, more obscure cards have come out. But just, like, knowing the possibility of things and knowing cards is, like, such an advantage, like, in tournaments.
One second, trying to. You broke up a little during that, but I think it mostly came through. It's all good. Jeff, of all the other competitive players, who do you have the most respect for and why?
I
think it should be Max.
It's I haven't really, like, thought about that, because, like, a lot of, like, the competitor friends with I guess for someone like with this person, but I'm not, like, super close with them simply because they live so far away. But I have a lot of respect from Europe. He's one of respect him. He's very kind. He's very good.
Sorry, the name completely cut out. All we heard was Europe.
No, Marchello from Europe.
Marchello, okay.
Yeah, he's very kind. He's very good. He's just like a stand-up. He's just a very stand-up player, and I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of, like, sitting down and, like, actually getting to talk to him, and I would say, like, he really does, like, just from talking to him, like, genuinely love the game, and, like, that's where he comes from in it, and I really like that about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't you die in the 60s? We're not that ancient, come on. Out of all the cards we haven't gotten from into the TCG from the OCG, what do you want to see imported?
So I mentioned that Plants is one of my favorite decks, and I really want the Major Link monster. It's a card I want really badly.
I don't. Oh, there's so many cards. Like, do you? This is a question from me. Do you think that we need another pack, kind of like World Superstars, to, like, help us with imports, since we're choking out the imports even more now in the core sets?
Probably not. We really aren't that far behind with cards that we're missing. A lot of cards that we're missing, honestly, aren't very good. so it's not really that we really shouldn't be that worried about it. There's only a few cards that are actually like really good that we're missing, so I don't think it's like that big of a problem. That's
For
why
me, it's like, sorry, go ahead.
I would say that's why they increase the amount of TCG exclusives we get now and decrease the amount of imports, because we're starting to run low on the amount of cards that need to be imported.
So for me, it's like certain decks like either just get hit by a ban list and never make it, but also like we never got any security dragon shenanigans going up the link line, and by the time he comes in, I think he'll still be usable, but like he won't be used as a transition link as much as he would have ever.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm kind of fine with that, because a lot of the cards like Needle Fiber, I'm glad we don't have Needle Fiber. Like, people complain about Goki right now. Imagine the crap that would go on if we had Needle Fiber. We don't need that card. We already have Summon Sorceress. It's just I'm fine without getting that card ever.
I really want a Needle Fiber sooner than later, just so it got slayed before next WCQ season.
I mean, if we just never get it, I'd rather just never get it. Like, I'd rather just wait a really, really long time.
I just don't see a point where it's irrelevant. I just don't see it.
Maybe, I mean, that's true, but I mean, I'd rather. Yeah, I don't know. The point that like you don't want it to come out before like a season like the WCQ, but I'd rather just not get it until. If we get it, I'd rather it happen at a point like now, than the summer, because it always seems like the WCQ season it ends up being so ridiculous every year. Like, I feel like this season ends up being really good, and like Yu-Gi-Oh's like pretty fun and interactive, but by the time the summer comes around, everything just kind of goes to shit.
Sorry, I'm laughing. One of my friends just posted, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Oh, those are both pretty scary.
Oh man, those always catch me off guard. I was surprised people hadn't done.
I feel like I can probably. Oh, I don't know. A flying horse-sized duck is way scarier, I think. Can you imagine a fat bitch flying after you? Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my god, yeah. But the thing is, the horses would actually probably be heavier because Avian's bones are hollow.
That is true.
Man.
But I feel like I'd probably be able to get away from them. I don't know. Like, yeah, definitely the smaller, the horse size or the duck size horses, because I mean, you can just get into like you can go inside and get away from them, where that duck could just bust through windows.
Oh no. Jeff, some people believe GOAT is the most skilled format to play,
Nope,
and some
it's
people
not.
believe it's highly overrated in that aspect. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely overrated. That it is not. It is not very, like extra skill intensive.
I know Hoban's favorite is Monarch Mirrors. What's your favorite?
Favorite mirror match?
Yeah.
Probably the plant mirror, like the Tengu plant mirror. I feel like that one is fairly good. Obviously there are some problems, but in general, it's not too bad. I like that one.
Yeah, we've doubled the total since you left. Simo came in. Simo actually matched the first hour of donations and went in with a $1,700 donation. So that's how we're at this huge point. But you guys, of course, made that happen too. And you all have been really amazing today. I literally set the goal at 1,000, hoping to like peak over it to like 1,200. And you guys have smashed all expectations. The Megatons just came out. I know a lot of you guys are traveling to the 200th. Like, thank you guys so much. I can't
amazing.
believe it.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I love when the communities can come together for like a good cause. I just love that stuff.
Oh, there was something about a point earlier. I had it on the tip of my tongue. It was so decks that don't come out, like the Kaiju Level Eater deck had literally 1 weekend for an OTS championship before it was slayed. I play on Dueling Book a lot, so on the note of like OCG decks that don't make it over, that happens more and more and more these days because we don't get those cards quote unquote fast enough. But also like the ban list can end up slaying it out too. Like it was all over Dueling Book for like 2 months. I faced it like every single stream, multiple times this stream. People loved the Kaiju Link spam deck, and Well, you got one weekend with it for all those guys who tested for months.
So like I'm usually like pretty like up to date with all, but I don't even like remember that deck. It's probably because I don't play online, but I didn't even know that was a deck. I remember there was like a Blue Eyes level eater deck.
Yeah, people would abuse the kaijus, especially like the big ones. Get them out onto their field with firewall, and then just level eater, and
Okay.
it was pretty insane. And of course, level eater needed to be hit the moment like link summoning was transitioning into more links. But it's people just practice that deck nonstop online. Another similar one was, you remember when the old Zephyra deck was getting really popular, or did you ever run into that?
I really liked the Zephyr deck and the Zephyr card, so like I played around with it. Was there something else with it?
There was at the end of the really diverse format when Nekroz was still around, but we were in that place where like 11 different decks were topping. Like Eric had just won with Infernoids. We had Cosmos around. We still had Shadows around. We had a lot going on in top cuts, like 11 different decks in YCS top cuts during that time. This Zephyr deck was starting to become really popular online back then, and then just completely disappeared after the ban list. Like, even though the ban list didn't do much to it, it was really weird. Okay, which of these three are most broken? That's a good one. Isolde, Summon Sorceress, or Needle Fiber? I would. Oh, that's some. I would think it's not Isolde because it relies on other things.
It's definitely not as old. Like people like the problem is not as old. It's the other cards. Like Isolde can enable them, but it's all the other cards that are like the real problem because they're used in other things, and that's how you can tell. Like Isolde is only used for like one thing, and it's like for Gokis, and so the problem is not as old. Summon Sorceress is definitely a problem, but when it comes down to a Needle Fiber, it's definitely the most problematic. It's just too easy to make. It's just a card that lets you do too much by investing too little. So when I talked about earlier that the best decks, or decks that I really like, are ones that you get a lot from investing a small amount into, like Needle Fiber, like and other stuff like that. It just takes it to an entirely other level. And same with like Goki, you get way too much out of investing too little, and Needle Fiber is the same way. So Needle Fiber is definitely the most broken out of all of them.
I have a pretty good one here from MDG Official. Great AMA. My question to Jeff is, what do you think is the best design card of all time or archetype? Anything jump out to you that has a really cool interaction?
That is a good one. It's a really hard.
Also, somebody combined Zephyra and Jeff into Jeffra.
Jeffra. It's almost like a kaiju, like the kaiju version of me, Jeffra.
Oh my god.
Geez, the best designed archetype.
Also, thanks to Zane Grant for the 100. Just saying, here's what I got. Thank you so much, man.
No, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. That's really, really hard. I really don't know. I'm trying to think something that's like really fun and.
Like, I love Six Samurais, but by any means, they're not the best design.
John. Go away.
Yeah, they're nowhere near the best design. I'm putting that forward.
I think that one of the coolest design and concepts is probably, this is the one I'm thinking of right now, is Cosmo. Where I don't think it was too broken. It was a unique deck. It definitely did something that other decks didn't do. The concept of, so I don't know, like I don't know if how many people like know this, but the concept of Cosmo is like when you banish the psychic monsters, it's like them going into the ship when you special summon a bigger one. And I think like those kind of things are like really cool because it has like adds like a flavor to it. So stuff like that, like really, I'm a giant nerd, so I love stuff like that.
I saw a really good question. Here's another one that's been asked a few times. What legacy deck would you like to see getting support in the future?
Harpy Ladies. That's one of my favorite decks also. But I have heard that Japan does not like Harpy Ladies, so I'm not holding my breath.
Maybe it's that they got yelled at by the soccer moms too much when they had to put the jumpsuits on.
Maybe.
Oh no. Let's see here. To Jeff, is there one card you think should be banned or never come off the list?
Well, there's lots of cards that should never come off the list. I could almost all. There's a vast majority of them should not come off. But one that definitely should be banned is Soul Charge. I hate that card. When someone plays that card, my life just wants to end. I just can't stand it.
1 second. Yeah, the donation page is still up, guys. It works completely. Maybe it's your browser? Jeff, what would you say is your favorite achievement in the game, whether it be personal or helping someone else out?
So this is kind of a personal one. It's really stupid. It's just kind of like a joke, but every person I've ever dated after dating me has started topping events.
Weird. Oh no. Oh, by the way, Scott said it was Steve, but that was me. So we're at a YCS, and commonly people share rooms. And Max and Jeff go into the shower to save time, and Scott just goes, "God, I wish that were me," because they're talking Yu-Gi-Oh theory in the shower, and I just like stare at him. He's like, "Obviously, I don't mean with another guy, John." I just gave him I wish that were me all weekend too.
I first heard that story like pretty recently, and I was like, "Why am I just now hearing that?" Like Scott was like, Jeff and Max went to the bathroom to take a shower, and then they started talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I turned to Steve and was like, "That's the dream."
Let's see here. So what you're saying is I should date you for a brief amount of time. Isn't there a movie about that, like where the next person, like they date, they get married or something?
Yeah, there is. It's really funny. It's kind of like that. So all of my friends are like, "Oh, if you just want to be good, all you have to do is have sex with Jeff."
Okay, I don't like the second part of this question, but I do like the first. It's would the old generation like Korn, Emon, Caesar still have success, and did you play against any of them? We'll leave it at that.
Was the second one like inappropriate or something?
It's like asking if they're as shady as the stories, basically, and it's like, okay. Yeah, that's people like they got banned for a reason, but like there's also no reason to throw dirt on their name. Like,
right? Yeah, absolutely. That's not something I really would want to talk about anyway. But I would say that they would not thrive in today's day. A lot of people, a lot of players from back then have tried. But have not succeeded. I think it's just they were not able, and that's something that I was.
You're completely cutting out right now.
To do over time is adapt to the game, and so I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. There we go. It was like just jumbling together and lapping over each other. It was really weird.
No, it's okay. Sorry about that. I do not think that they would be successful today. A lot of older players have tried and not done very well to do that, and I think it's just because they were not able to adapt, and the game is so different than it was back then, and I was able to adapt over time, and that's why I've been able to stay consistent. But I don't think those other players would be able to do it right now.
Reaching back on Cosmo, actually Jesse Samick, one of the only YCS SJC champs there, the barrier to entry for Cosmo in design also isn't that heavy, even though it has complex plays, or lines, I guess I should say it, not plays, but basically you had this deck come out, and he was able to take it with like older mechanics and go in, but I think Link summonings kind of throttled the success of a deck like that. Like, we had True Draco more recently also, where you could kind of play without the extra deck. So when decks like that come into play, I think older players could see success. Because, like, during Monarchs, I saw actually a couple old players come back in top. But I feel like it takes a certain kind of specific format for them.
Yeah, I would agree with that also.
Hi, Jeff. Big fan. Do you think technical play or theory serves a player better, or do you find a balance of both is best? Well, yeah, I'll let you answer that.
Well, obviously, a balance of both is important, but it comes down to your technical play in the end. There are a lot of players who are not very good at either deck building or theory, but are very good at playing. And I noticed the ones that have really extravagant theories don't end up doing as well. So I think that your technical play is much more important, but theory is very important too. And I think I have a pretty good mixture of it because I've been able to take weird things and do pretty well with them. And then also with the combination of my technical play, have been able to make those things succeed. So obviously a combination is important, but if you'll be able to see success more often from your technical play than just theory.
Okay, so I've got a guy that loves this deck in my chat, and he did pay for the dono for this question, but as a store owner, I think you're going to feel a very particular way about this deck.
Oh, no.
Will Magnet Warriors ever be a good deck? How did those structure decks sell for you?
Oh, no.
I remember seeing the box.
You remember the box? Yeah.
I remember the box.
When that came out, it was so funny. I literally, because it was that and it was the ABC, right?
Yeah, and everybody wanted the ABC so bad.
Yeah, I had like a giant cardboard box of like Rest in Peace Yugi decks where there was just like 100 of them in there for like on sale for like $3 because just no one wanted them. It was crazy. But I think the Magnet Warrior cards are cool. They were pretty good in Duel Links, I think, for a while. But I don't think without getting any sort of crazy cards they'll ever be good.
Okay, 2 questions about Europe for you. Are you ever planning to attend a European YCS? And how do you feel about Europeans and other regions getting the jump promos so late? Oh no, we've lost him. Oh man, that was bad. You broke Jeff, boys. That's the consistency.
I really theme. Hello.
Sorry, you completely died there.
Oh,
You're back
can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I really want to go to a European event. It's one of the most common questions I've been asked is if I'm coming to either like South America or coming to Europe. And the way my life is and my priorities, it's really hard to do that. I was very close to coming to this next London event, but then some stuff came up and it's just really like not a good time for me. So yes, I want to, I will try to make it happen. And what was the second part of the question?
How do you feel about the jump promos being so late to other regions when they're like this impactful right now?
Well, you should be happy that you guys don't summon sorceress. Like if the like that's another card that just should not be a thing. So you should. I mean, yeah, it's very good, but the game is better off with cards like that. So I think it's better that you guys don't have them, and it's kind of upsetting when I see people complain about it that they don't have them. But your game would be much worse if you had it. So.
Well, okay, let's go back then, like, to Klee format, though, where they don't have Lightning or even the... What else was missing? I think Crab was a magazine promo for a while. Like, they missed... Their Towers outs were very small.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the card, but as far as Summon Sorcerers, like, you guys should be happy you don't have that. But I can definitely see... I know that it sucks, but there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's just kind of the way it is.
Thunder King was another big one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's been a lot. Like, it's basically like looking at a different kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Similar to OCG versus us, but it's like we're both playing TCG. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, I mean, would you prefer...
Oh, Link Haribo's a good point. That actually, like, took Spiral to a different level.
It definitely did. Do you think that they should just let it be legal everywhere and they have to buy it? Like,
I think, like, I don't see why they don't produce it in other regions. Like, I don't know if it's a legal thing or...
So the reason why is because it just didn't do well. Where in the U.S. it does fairly well, and they can make some money off of it. It did not do well in Europe.
I remember they tried with Absolute Zero, if I recall.
I don't remember when it was, but I do know that the reason they stopped is that they just was not making any money. Not enough people were subscribing.
I feel like they could try again, but Rough stuff. Do you have any tips for somebody going to the 200th? I guess we could kind of gear that towards newer players, maybe, who don't know what to expect from a large event.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to. I guess a big thing for me is that you have to stay hydrated. There have been times where I don't drink enough water, and I just feel like crap at one point of the day, and I'll go to the bathroom and I'll just my pee is like this strong yellow, and I'm like, oh crap, I really need to drink water. And so like that's kind of like a weird thing, but like just making sure you take care of yourself before the event, getting enough sleep, getting like I don't eat at events at all because I don't want to have to like go to the bathroom like ever, and so that's just something I just do. But other than that, like I mean, there really isn't anything like too specific. It's I mean, as long as you've been to an event, period, they're kind of all the same. So
what do you miss from the older competitive days of Yu-Gi-Oh! And why?
Seeing turn 5.
Seeing, oh my god, the
Seeing
time rules. I have never seen such a, like, base reaction against something that Konami's done, and no movement, no, just straight radio silence on that.
Yeah, something had to be done. I think it could have been done better. I personally, after the first event where it happened, have not had any problems with it. I usually play pretty fast, so I don't really have like a huge issue with it right now. But I do see why it's a problem. But something had to be done. The rounds were just going over so much, an hour, 20 minutes sometimes, and we'd be getting out at 11 o'clock midnight, and that was just unacceptable. So I feel like they could have done something better, but what are you gonna do?
Call Me Nevermore donated 25 just to say he took a sick day so he could watch this stream. He appreciates the hard work you put in. And Jeff, thank you so much for the contributions you've made to the community.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. When I hear stuff like that, it really like makes it kind of like worth it to be such a like prominent figure in the community. I'm like really lucky that I can have an effect on people's lives, and it sounds like super cheesy, but like I know that like things I say have value, and like my actions have value, and I always haven't been kind of like the stand-up person I am right now. When I was like a lot younger, 16, 17, I was an angsty teen and kind of an ass, but as I've gotten older, I just realized that like it's just like not worth it. So it makes me happy when I can like influence people's lives in a positive way.
For people, let's actually introduce you. I guess I forgot to do that. Somebody said, who is this Jeff Finney? Right, I'm a prominent figure. Who are you? Okay, so Jeff here, you have 2 W's and then a third with your UDS. I don't know where you stacked it up. I consider it a premier event. It's very hard.
No, the UDS is definitely, it's not only is it one of the hardest events to win, it's also one of the best and most important to win.
Yeah, it has the best prizing. I've tried to state this over and over. Out of all the events, besides perhaps the WCQ, it's the best prizing you can win in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of monetary value. And then the belt itself, you got free entry to events for life as long as the program runs, and I don't see it ending. And then you also get 2 buys at YCS's, and you also get 2 buys at I think it's WCQ running now, because they had Furman get 2 buys this year.
Yeah, I had 2 buys at WCQ also. Yeah, 2 buys at every YCS, WCQ, free entry into all events for as long as I live. Yeah.
So somebody says, what's your favorite and most proud innovation? I'm gonna say Jeff has a lot. I remember like one of your breakout moments where people just like went crazy over the cards was Psychics. But go ahead. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite of your own? That
definitely is the deck. I still get people to this day coming up to me like, "Oh, that Psychic Grand Soil deck was just like so crazy. It like made me fall in love with you and like follow you and what you're doing, and it was just like such a cool deck. And it has like kind of like a cool story behind it. At that time, before that event, which was YCS Toronto, I had like just broken up with my boyfriend at the time, so I wasn't playing. And my friends were like, "Oh, just come with us. You'll have a good time. You'll take your mind off stuff." And so I was like, "All right, fine. Well, I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh right now." But I went on, and I think Emergency Teleport just went back to like 3 or something, and Grand Soil had just come out. And I was like, oh, well, all of these psychic monsters are Earth. So I just started playing for fun on Dueling Network with like this psychic deck. And I was like, well, I'm just going to this event to have fun. I'm not planning to win. And so I went to this event and I just kept winning. And I'd win the next round and the next round all the way up until the finals where my luck finally ran out. But it was just crazy, and I just couldn't believe it. And I remember like winning my top 4 match, and Jason Grabermeyer was doing my feature match, and like I couldn't believe I'd won. And I just turned to him and kind of screamed, and I was like, ah! I grabbed him and just started yelling. I was like, I can't believe that I'm in the finals with this ridiculous deck, and I had not planned to do well at all. And it was the reason why it's my favorite is because it was so unexpected for me to do well.
No, you don't have to donate to ask a question. I'm picking them randomly from chat here and there. So feel free to ask in chat and I'll try to get to it. But there's a lot of questions in chat, so donors do get priority on the questions. And I saw a question just a bit ago, actually, that I think you actually said something about this recently. Opinions on the OCG time rules.
Oh, well, yeah, the OCG time rules is for their first YCS. It's a complete joke. I don't know what's going on, but their time rules are right now for their YCSs. They have 2 YCSs that are 1 day each, and they have, I think it's like 25 or 30-minute rounds or something, and it's best of 1. And if the one game is not finished in that time, it's a double game loss. So I don't know where they're coming from with all that.
Yeah, somebody was like, isn't it a tie? And it's like, well, a tie is a loss, like, there, even if it was considered a tie. Because I think it's double elim.
It is, yes. But I do think it's a loss. I don't think there's a tie.
Yeah. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Jalapenos.
Ooh.
I love spicy food.
Mine, oh man, that's tough. I think breakfast bacon's mine. I'm always gonna be a fatty at heart. I can't help it. It's so good. Ooh, this is one. And there's a Kappa by it. Who's your favorite Yugi tuber? I already know the answer. It's not me, by the way. Spoilers.
I do not watch a lot of YouTubers, but do you know who it is?
It starts with an L.
It does. It is Lithium. I love watching Lithium. I think that like randomly, he's like. I think deck building is like pretty difficult for most people, and even though I don't think he's like done well at premier events, I think that when I watch his deck profiles, he gets like pretty close to what decks should look like when he's trying new decks, and that's like really impressive to me because I think one of my greatest strengths is being able to take new cards and be able to come with a more perfected list than other people, especially in a short period of time. If people usually have to start out at point A and go like B, C, D, and it takes them to go through all those steps, I can usually start out at like point C and get to D. And I think that like when I watch his videos and I look at his decks, I was like, oh, like this is like pretty cool. And I think that he's like actually like a pretty good deck builder, and that's why I like him.
Ooh,
and his voice is awesome.
I'm gonna do the dono question after this one because this is a really good one. What do you think needs to be done for Yu-Gi-Oh players to accept and enjoy a sealed format, particularly draft?
I just don't think that is possible. I don't think anything can really be done. I love sealed and draft when YCSs were top cut like that. I wasn't playing as much as I probably should have, but so I didn't get into that top cut to play the sealed or the draft. But I absolutely loved it. And a lot of good players kept consistently doing well in that format. And so the problem with that was that the same players kept doing well and winning. And people could not adapt to that style of play. And people also were like, oh, I paid like $500 for this deck and I don't even get to use it to win with. And so that was another big problem. So
yeah, I feel like you would need to like have a larger portion of draft to make it acceptable.
Right. Like top 4 drafts or something like that, or top 8, or probably top 8 would draft. But yeah, to make like in Top Cut your entire deck irrelevant after like spending X amount of money on it was like a big problem for.
Isn't there I forget which card game that you play draft for the tournament and then get to use constructed in Top Cut? I feel like that exists.
That was so that actually was how the one YCS worked, where they did sealed. So you played sealed through day 1, and you came back for Top Cut and played your real deck. So if there's another game that does that, I'm not aware of it, but I know that was how the one sealed event for Yu-Gi-Oh worked.
Yeah, I felt like it existed. Okay, so could Zodiac start to come off the list?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I would like bring back Droiden or anything like that. Broad Bull's obviously a very good card. I think it'd probably be okay if so I started like thinking if you could like put Rat to 3, but there's like some crazy link stuff you can do with Rat at 3, so I don't think it could actually go to 3. But I think like you could put Rat. Is Rat at 1 right now?
I believe so.
Yeah, like Rat doesn't need to be at 1, and I mean, you could probably just put Broad Bull to 1 also, and it just wouldn't matter. There's lots of things on the list that don't matter, that shouldn't be there anymore.
Yeah, the danger of Zodiac was like, even with Broad Bull for the resources, was being able to mix with True Draco for the tributes, and then also having power to pop so that you could like save your masterpiece pops and resources there too.
Yeah, like that goes back to like the thing where I said like where you get way too much out of investing too little. So just like investing 1 card gave you so many options, and without like Trident preventing your opponent from playing, it's probably not that big of a deal. So
Tour Guides Guy asks, what are your thoughts on the future of Danger? Do you think future waves of support are likely to make a splash?
Absolutely. Those cards are already so good. It's kind of like when if the game was a little bit different, I think that Danger would be like a deck that's doing well, or some version of a Danger deck, because all the cards that came out for the first wave are very similar to when Burning Abyss first came out. So they got like Burning Abyss first came out, and they got like Skarm, Graf, and Seer, and Dante, and those were like the best of them all. So these are definitely going to be the best of the Danger cards, and they'll start releasing like smaller versions of them with like different effects as they come off. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the next versions of them are just like not as good, but still good and playable, kind of like how Burning Abyss was, how Burning Abyss got like Farfa and stuff like that. So I absolutely believe that at some point the Danger deck is going to be one of the play decks.
We have from Ian Tezer. Jeff, have you ever read Road of the King? And if so, how do you feel about it? Do you think the stuff that Patrick and Johnny write is worthwhile information to absorb?
I have not read it, so I cannot be of any help with that question. So
I think we finally got the book. I actually haven't read it all the way through. We got the book because somebody left it in our car on a road trip. And Billy and Robert would like read passages out loud, mainly about Tamid, because like it was talking, I think, about how Tamid hadn't topped or like won, and how he topped consistently, and then he won after the book was published.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so I would say that I think there's definitely information for people that are more casual in the game, which is a large portion of YouTube that are looking to get competitive. I think there's information in there for people like that, and also even people who have kind of figured out their game currently, but like at the same time are looking to look into the mind of players that approach the game in a different way. I think it's definitely a worthwhile look in those aspects for people.
yeah, you can't deny that like Patrick was very successful and Patrick's a very smart individual. So there definitely has to be things there that can be of value. I didn't always agree with things that Patrick did or said, but you can't deny like his accomplishments and like how intelligent of a person he is.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like multiple times, you know how we hit on, like, secrets aren't a secret anymore? Multiple times there were where he would approach the event, like, you know, dating back to Dragon Rulers, but even moving forward within Necros, where Secret Village and Scolding were kind of breaking out at that event, and then it goes to draft, so you can't really see the final result. But, like, that kind of came from his camp, in a sense. So I still feel like there's, like, these events where he kind of figures something out before other people. Like with Mermails, he was really like pushing Mermails in a way other people hadn't and comboing in a way that a lot of people hadn't. Man, there's a lot of questions, but I'm sorry, there's a lot of Dono questions. I see all the at-me's. I see all of these. Trust me, my whole screen's red. Okay, this is for both of you. Would you rather top events all year long or top Nats and the world's only once and never top again? Ooh, well, for me and my decade-old ass top, I'll take to go to world's never top again. I'll take that for me, but I think Jeff will have a different opinion on that.
Worlds is very important to me. It's kind of like always been like a dream of mine, but to never ever like top again. Well, I guess if it was right now, I'd probably do it because I'd be okay with where I'd be at. I'd have done everything. I've topped in one YCSs, one UDS, topped nationals, won ARGs. I've done it all. The one thing I haven't done has been to Worlds. So if we're talking about like right now, if I could go to Worlds and do all that, I'd be able to be okay with that because I could quit and have done everything.
And featuring Jeff Jones, the Duel Links player. I mean, I honestly do think we need like a higher volume of like people that like I know that I love Robert, I love Michael. I'd like to see a wider range of commentators who have accomplishments in the game looking back, because like I think there's a serious thing where Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes so much time compared to all the games because of so much is involved. That's why you see in YugiTube not a lot of accomplished players, or any really currently, are consistently putting out daily content, which is what you need to do with YouTube. I don't think you can like run an entire channel and also competitively play time and time and time again and do daily content, which is something we see from every other game, because the games are mostly automated online, that like Hearthstone, you're basically just talking as you play instead of like focusing, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes a lot more focus because everything's just,
there's a lot more going on.
Yeah, it's the amount of like the barrier to entry of the game, I guess I should say, and the amount of thought it takes when you're looking at stuff seriously, it's just different than any other game.
Yeah, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the only successful game that doesn't have a resource system, and all the games that have resource systems, it means that your play is limited, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost nothing is limited. So you always are limited to the amount of actions you are allowed to play in other games, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! It doesn't matter.
Do you think that a limited format pre the Lost Millennium era, like GOAT, but I guess it could be other things too, could exist and gain enough support to get official prize support?
I don't know. I think you players are very limited in their not ways of thinking, but they like it the way they like it, and it's just so hard to appeal to the vast majority.
Whenever I ask people about past formats, I feel like everybody has a different answer.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't feel like it'd be supported enough, and that's the problem with like, that's just the people. It would mean also that people would have to invest money into other things, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players like don't want to do that. Most people only have like one deck at a time. The most common way to go about it, since I used to own a store, was people would own one deck at a time, and whenever they wanted a new one, sell those cards and try to get new ones. And that's just kind of how people don't want to have numerous decks. So,
all right, Victory Flare donated and asked, what do you think would need to change to potentially make extra linking somewhat balanced as a mechanic, or do you think that is not feasible?
I really, I don't think it's feasible. I just don't think it ever should have been a thing. I really don't know why they went about doing that. It's just, I don't think there's a way to balance it. How's there a way to balance a mechanic that says you can't play? Like, it's just silly.
Cause like, yeah, I just maybe you make a kaiju link. I saw this, and I usually hate creative cards, but somebody was like, if both monsters in the extra monster zone are co-linked, you could like summon a link to kaiju by using both or something.
See, like, and that's like, so like by like creating that card, you're acknowledging that there's a problem instead of dealing with the problem. You're trying to create an answer. Yeah, so like that's why like I have a problem with that. Like,
yeah, exactly. There's no great way to do it, and if you do that, then you're like saying, as long as this is in the extra deck, my opponent can't extra link me, and it
right.
Takes up
It's kind of like the problem. So like a lot of people, like, I hate Maxi. I am glad that card's gone. I can see why people want it, but by like Maxi existing, you're acknowledging there's a problem instead of fixing the problem. You're like relying on Maxi. And I don't like that. I'd rather just them try to fix the problem than like bring back Maxi, because Maxi goes against what the entire like, you're creating decks, and by creating decks that have like a strong special summon mechanic, you are, by Maxi existing, you're like preventing those decks from being played. So it's really hard while Maxi exists for other decks to ever be good or even fun to play with, because like you could play like a Vendred or something, right? But if Maxi existed at 3, the deck wouldn't be any fun because you would never be able to do anything. Like, you're just trying to do something kind of fun and gimmicky, but you're just punished for even just trying to play the game. And so like cards like Maxi and even like Shared Ride to a point right now, where like, oh, every deck relies on searching, but if you're Shared Ride, you can't play your deck. It's just like another thing like that, and I don't like that. I'd rather just deal with the problem than like create cards or have cards to try to balance the problem.
All right, somebody asks, and this is a lighter question after all these, what's your favorite rarity and why?
My favorite rarity is I guess it's 2. It's super rare and ultra rare.
I like Ghost Rare so I can see it on my opponent's faces. But no, really, I think the like old CP supers, like, do you like those more than the newer ones with the emblems like lit up, or which one do you like more?
I guess it'd be more of like the older ones. Like, I like one of my like favorite super rares is like Super Rare Apprentice Edition. I just love the way like the darkness looked on that card. I don't know, so probably like more like the older super rares before they were more mass printed.
Nimble Mamanga and Magician of Faith have like my favorite shades of green in the background.
Those both look really good.
Yeah, let's see here. Somebody donated as pretty much random. Give my raffle ticket to a random in chat. Not really interested in it. Suicide prevention's a good cause. I cannot express how thankful I am you're willing to support it. Have a nice one, y'all. Thank you so much.
That's amazing. And, I love that. Thank you.
I've had a few people say they don't really want to win prizes. I do consider if you win something, you can feel free to sell it and always support a charity further. I think it's really awesome that the sponsors have given incentives, but I also get people who would feel bad and just want to support. So thank you so much, but never feel bad for winning something or giving or not, quote unquote, giving enough. All those make me so angry when someone's like, sorry, I couldn't give more. And I'm like, dude, thank you for giving anything.
Yeah, even just a little, like your heart's in the right place. So
there is no downfall of ARG. Okay, so Freaky, I've seen you say that several times. Like, ARG's actually like doing better than ever. Like, the Dragon Ball Super circuit is actually just going insane for them, and their Yu-Gi-Oh attendance still breaks like 180 plus at several of their events. If not, I think there was a 220 recently. So like, I don't think there's a quote unquote downfall of ARG, and they just got who all's on your team, Jeff?
So it's me, Calvin, Ryan Levine, Max, we have Mike Albanese, we have Vinny Silverman, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Nikki Reardon.
Yeah, I would say that's one of
the newest.
One of the most solid USA teams, period. A lot of the I feel like PPG heavily concentrates on Dragon Ball now.
Yeah, I know that PPG is kind of like out of Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't really
I would say
as
Jobber
much.
is probably the only rival team that's left. And Jobber was kind of quiet because he had things going on in his life, but he's back. And his team never left. So, like, I would say those are probably the two strongest teams, hands down. Like, I don't get why you're so focused on asking that over and over. But to address it, like, they didn't go anywhere. That's like, hey yo Drake, how'd it feel when you fell down? And it's like, I'm still here. Oh man, let's see here.
But you can't forget there's good European teams too. Also,
Yeah, no, there's great. I mean, that's why I specified American teams. That's
Yeah.
why I definitely specified, like, because the Europe's been doing nothing but like getting stronger and stronger. It's crazy.
Europe is like really big on their teams. Like, so I've never been a big team person. I kind of just like, because I said I really don't like large groups, but even like the whole team thing, I kind of like stay by myself. I'm pretty active in my team chat though, but
Dank Deals is pretty good also, but like I feel like the names gathered under ARG and under Jobber are just insane names, whereas like Dank Deals is grinding their way up. It's almost like looking back towards like older names. Everybody's gonna say Outphase and Overdose, but not many people are gonna talk about like Kamikaze Crew, even though they're a really solid team. Or Yu-Gi-Oh! ETC is another one that tried real hard for a while. I haven't heard the name Yu-Gi-Oh! ETC in probably 5 years till it just left my mouth. Like, I feel like Dank Deals is on the up. They've got to continue though. When you're coming up in a grind, you got to keep going.
so to be honest, like again, like I don't follow like a lot of YouTubers, so I also don't follow a whole lot of team stuff. Who's on Dank Deals?
I believe Denny Vu is like the first one that comes to mind, who is aka the Denny Yu clone, but he's been doing really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know him. I don't know too many other people on there. I feel like I see them post a lot of. Chester Hinson is one. Okay, that's a good one. Both chats went Chester instantly. That's
Chester's
fair.
nice.
That's fair. I feel like though, overall, like you know, when you have a newer name, you gotta claw it, you gotta dig it, and you gotta make your presence. You have to be the ones to do that. And also, Dank Deals, I believe, just switched sponsors to Jim, Jim Playmats, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Jeff in House of Champs, what's your this is actually a deck I kind of like. What's your opinion on Crusadia, along with the deck's power to OTK without Firewall?
So to be honest, I don't know too much about Crusadia. I know what the cards do, and I know what the concept is. You kind of like invest your cards into like this one play to kill your opponent in one turn. But I've never played against it, so I don't really have a big. I don't have like a giant like that.
Let's see. For me, I actually really like if you start with Rescue Cat, you get out the two lion or a lion and an elephant if you want, and so like all of them can special summon to a link arrow. Like your monsters can special summon to the link arrows.
Yeah.
And so you go up into Equimax and you get Nat Beast, so you essentially have that negate and then Nateria Beast behind him, and you try to get one more out. But still, like, there's other ways in this game to Nateria Beast and have negates that I feel like are slightly better. But then, like, that's your answer going first, in a sense, because Rescue Cat's okay going second. But, like, Hand Traps just really hurt Cat, too. But
Yeah.
Cat proved itself in BA recently. How do you feel about that one? How the BA taking what was it, the UK Nationals?
Yeah, I like Europe has some like really great players, but some of the stuff that goes on there, I'm not too sure about. I have questions.
Yeah, watching some of their top eights, it's like watching like this wonderland that's almost anime-esque.
Right? Yeah. It's like I've said this before that it's kind of like this fantasy world that I don't know how these decks do well that it exists, but I mean. You watch the American stream and stuff too, and you see like similar things that like maybe not similar decks, but like the plays and people who are playing are questionable also.
Do you have a favorite anime deck?
Favorite anime deck? So what is that? Was like what? Oh, like on the anime or
like yeah, in the anime in general, like maybe anime specific or a deck that's in real life that a character used.
Oh, okay. I thought. I thought for some reason my friends always make fun of stuff like Trickstar and Sky Striker, and they're like, "Oh, look at those anime lolly girl decks." So I thought maybe that's what it was talking about. Something.
Oh
like
no,
that.
no.
Okay. But my favorite deck from the anime, which besides like Mai's Harpy Ladies and stuff like that, was definitely the Valkyrie deck. So when I first heard that was coming out, I was so excited. Like obviously I didn't have like high expectations for it, but I loved the Valkyrie stuff when it was on TV.
There's like so many random archetypes. Like I remember there's like a food archetype that's just awful. the anime has, there's also like a drinking deck, I think, from early GX.
Oh god. Oh, so that's
Yeah.
like the one. So GX is like fairly popular, and that's Max's favorite era. I didn't
Ooh.
watch GX. My favorite was 5Ds. I loved the 5Ds anime.
It's so serious compared to like.
That's why I liked it. I love Yusei is like my favorite protagonist besides like so Yusaku from the new series is like I love Yusaku because I love
Yeah.
how he's pretty serious. I think that's kind of cool. But there's also like there's a new character or newer character the guy who uses Salamangreat. Do you follow the new anime at all?
I watched about 25 episodes, and then that third recap episode happened, and it kind of burned me out. But I've heard there hasn't been a recap episode since.
Yeah, there's like this new guy. It's like
Soul Burner, right?
Soul Burner. Yeah. He's like my favorite character on the TV show right now.
Yeah, like they've kind of, people have told me they've kind of shifted like to him being the current like followed protagonist. Like maybe they're like switching around to where they like concentrate more on other people than just Yusaku.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool if that, but I haven't watched it myself to be able to keep up and tell if that's true. But like for me, GX definitely has like that sillier era, and I think it was kind of more to get a younger audience because Yu-Gi-Oh really does have overall an older audience. A lot of the people who grew up with it, they're coming back from college, they're trying to play again, they finally have time, or they're getting their kids into it even. That's like the best thing to see is like when somebody that used to play back in the day that I know is like just getting their kid in to the game, and like the kid is just like so enjoying it. They're so like happy to meet people and like get to play, like seeing that excitement. It's really awesome. I couldn't like the Dragon Duels is an entire thing. I'm so happy Konami does that.
Yeah, I love watching Dragon Duels. I made like just like a while ago when what's his name won Worlds this year. Dragon Duel Worlds.
The name's skipping me too.
Oh my goodness. I feel really bad because
I just remember the infinite memes. Like some of them were actually really, really cool.
Yeah. But when he won Dragon Duel year, his like mom came up and like hugged him, and like I basically started like crying, and I was just so happy for him. It was just like such a nice moment.
Let's see here. My daughter likes to line cards up on the floor and smack them down when she plays. Oh no, double sleeve, plus. That's something actually that's come up in my stream like the past 5 streams. Like somebody always asks like why we can't double sleeve. Do you know the actual answer? Like is it cheating or something?
I feel like I used to know the answer. I know I've definitely asked this question before, but it was years and years ago, and I don't remember the answer. It definitely has to be something with cheating.
Yeah, I feel like you could switch cards out from behind or some.
That and also, so because like Japan doesn't have like a large organized play, they don't have those large tournaments, right? So
Yeah.
Here they do deck checks, so it would take a lot more time having to like look through, like if they want to take a card out of a sleeve to check it, they'd have to like de-sleeve it twice, and it just adds time to it also.
Yeah, that's actually the best reason that I've heard. That makes sense. Why is everyone saying Charlie? Oh, the person
Charlie.
who Charlie.
Oh yeah, Charlie. Yeah. I feel bad because he comes up to me like every regional or something like that and asks how I'm doing. He's just such a nice kid.
Yeah, dude. Like, also Ryan Hayakawa from the previous year. No, that's not Hayakawa.
That Ryan
oh my
Hayakawa.
God, Ryan Yu. Ryan. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my God. We're mixing history. I'm sorry. I'm old.
That's about 12 years too.
We actually ran into him in downtown Dallas once.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, you. I know it's you. I corrected myself real fast. Oh man, it's just like I feel like that literally stole the show last year. It just completely stole the show. Chain burn. I'm playing dice jar. Let's do this.
Right? Yeah, yeah. It's just watching like those like little kids like do real well is like I don't know. It's just awesome. I like it.
Oh man. Any more questions for Jeff, boys? We've kept you here longer than I expected, but I'm really glad that you've been here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As long as people have some questions and there isn't anything going else on, I'll answer whatever I can.
What are some of your most unenjoyable formats? You answered Gladiator Beast. Are there any others?
Unenjoyable formats. I mean, I guess it'd be like the Rescue Cat Infernity, or like the X-Saber Infernity, like Herald of Perfection Frog FTK format. Like you either lost your entire hand, you couldn't play because your opponent had a billion counter traps, you got FTK'd by frogs, or your opponent had Herald of Perfection with like Arc Electricity or something. That was a pretty bad one.
Ooh, favorite extra deck monster.
My favorite extra. Well, okay, so I actually let me bring up my notes. So I like making lists. So like I have a list in my phone of like all of my favorite things. So I have my favorite fusion monster is Shadal Construct. My favorite synchro monster is Black Rose Dragon. My favorite Xyz monster is Melee of the Trees. And my favorite Link monster is Romage Angel Seraphy.
I think it's just so hard not to love Black Rose Dragon.
Yeah, I love Black Rose Dragon.
Like, if I was gonna make like a series that like every used to, there's another tuber that did this 101 series where they would take wacky decks and like do cool things with them, and no matter how the deck was shaped, he always made the deck Trish somehow. I was gonna do it like always have to Black Rose somehow. And my favorite thing to do to people still today, I'll be like Black Rose no on summon effect and remove a plant, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, a lot of
that's
people,
my favorite thing to still do to people.
Yeah, like finish them off like they're at 2,000, then you just kill them with that effect. Yeah.
It's so funny to see like, wait, what? And I think that's probably what it'd be funny to get people in the plants and like teach them those things.
I know Yu-Gi-Oh's at a point now that also that like a lot of people playing right now might not have even like seen Black Rose Dragon before, because like kind of recently I was playing something and like summoned Black Rose. And one of like someone I know like picked up and was like, "What does this do?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" It's gotten to a point where people don't even know what Black Rose does now. Jesus.
Oh yeah, Billy's first moment that was like, "Yo, we're really old," was I think it was like 2013, and he was talking about like broken cards, and he mentions brain control, and somebody goes, "What's brain control?" In 2013, like, and it's just like, oh,
I was like 3 years ago when Snatch Steal came back. Like someone came in my store and we're talking about Snatch Steal, and they're like, "What's Snatch Steal?" And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, Snatch Steal.
Oh man, at what point? Oh yeah, somebody did ask, and the answer to this is like, when's too old to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh, hi Bonnie. Too old. You're never too old until like your hands can't move with the cards anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up there for like pretty old as far as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. Like I feel like, but I mean, it's just like in a hobby, like anything else. I just enjoy it, and as long as I enjoy it and like I have fun with my friends, I'll probably keep playing.
Yeah, but it's just like we're gonna get at this point where we like. I know we're gonna get at this point where what's priority? Oh no, and like Goat at least helped with that a bit, but it's just like, oh. Well, 1 second. I think she needs to go to the bathroom. Like, she came up here and got excited.
Well, I already took her.
Okay. Oh, man.
She wants up.
Oh, let's go through some of these other... Favorite obscure / not popular format? Like, maybe one that people don't know about these days.
So that would definitely be when I won with the Drill Warrior deck. That's like not a format enough people I think know about, because it didn't exist for very long, because then the X-Saber Infernity deck came out shortly after. But that would be YCS. Oh my god.
Isn't it the 75th?
The 75th YCS format. That was like such a good format. There were so many different decks. Like there was so many decks.
I actually see a lot of people end up mentioning that when we ask about past format tournaments, but I think it's because like Zodiac's more competitively driven than the other forms of media, so it ends up like a lot of people end up remembering that format when we talk past.
I've definitely seen it too. I think it's like one of the more popular of the least known formats, because when people are like, oh, old formats that are like really good, people are like, oh, let's play goats or dragon rulers or something like that, but like there wasn't a specific deck you played during that format, which is why I think it was so good. There was nothing.
Yeah, not a lot of people can be prepared. Hey, want to play Edison format? Oh, what mirror are we playing? Mirror.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
that could be a huge difference.
I know that people at my store, since like obviously like I would introduce some people into like the Edison format, like they made like Billy and Jeff decks, so they had like a Caliber Cat deck and like a Drill Warrior deck, and they would play against each other.
Yeah, what else? Like I remember, like, wasn't Flameville Fire Dog popular
Yep,
then?
it was. There was Lightsworn, there was like the Flamvell deck, there was like a Monarch Lightsworn deck too at the time. Black Wings. There was just so much that like I played versus. So gadgets. There's so many different decks.
The very start of the legendary Six Samurai format, I feel it was like that too, because I played 9 different decks trying to top that event. Well, I went like 6-3, but I legitimately played like 9 different decks leading up. So I feel like right before the release of the legendary Six Samurai, like it might have been similar.
When was that? What format was that?
That it's really, is that 2012 or is that later? I think it's when D-Rev. No, Solemn's already out for a while here. When is the it's STOR, Storm of Ragnarok?
Storm of Ragnarok was when the Kazan and stuff came out.
Yeah, let's see when that was released. Storm of Ragnarok Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's see. The Wikia says usually they have release date 2010 in Japan and for February 8th, 2011.
Jeez, that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's some days I literally think about an event like it was yesterday, and then I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it really doesn't feel like that long.
Yeah, I feel like the format right before that leading into it had to be super diverse because there were so many different viable decks.
So before Storm of Ragnarok, that was Duelist Revolution, right?
Was D-Rev the set right before?
I feel like it was. Storm of STOR.
My fiance is trying to sick my dogs on me. Ooh, let's see here. Man, there's just so much like hidden formats. That's a tough one because like hidden gems, a lot of people go back and explore. Just talk like DDT is something not everybody remembers, but it's like one of the first kind of combo-y decks compared to like the rest of the older Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people like DDT, but I don't see it very often. Like I've only seen maybe 3 physical DDT decks.
Yeah, I honestly like I don't even know if many people, if I were to ask them if they knew what DDT was, would even know what that is.
Oh yeah, Diamond Dude Turbo, by the way, guys.
Yeah, Diamond Dude Turbo, yeah.
It's like some people mention Airblade more recently, like actually getting to play with 3 Stratos. But that was like what, one weekend that we had?
One weekend. That was
St. Louis?
That was my first top.
Ooh. So that's actually 2007, I want to say then.
Was it? Yeah, I knew it was 2007 or 2008. I couldn't quite remember.
I'm pretty sure it's 7. Let me see here. Elemental Hero Stratos. Should have I'm pretty sure. I could be just crazy. Let's see here. TCG sets. Show. Oh, North America's. Yeah, it's 2007. Yeah.
No, okay.
April 21st.
I love feeling older.
I have to live with my last top/win was over a decade ago. I used to joke about it when it was like 8 years ago, and we used to joke it. Now it really is there. What's your favorite bad card?
Favorite bad card. So what qualifies as bad? Bad is very subjective.
I guess like that is tough. That is.
Is bad like a card that's ever been played, or like a card that's bad now?
Maybe never topped, or like
Yeah, it's a really hard one because there's a lot of bad cards.
Like, would people even know what Union monsters are without ABC?
That's a very good question because, like, when that first came out, a lot of people didn't understand like Union around me. So,
ooh, this is a good one. What's the first card you pulled that got you really excited?
The very first card I ever pulled was, this is going to be such a ridiculous story. So the very first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh I got was from my grandmother, and so I went. I guess we'll talk about the story of how I got into Yu-Gi-Oh. I used to go. My dad would work, and so when my parents were divorced, I would go over to my grandmother's house after school. So I got there and I turned on the TV and the channel came on and it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, what is this? And it was the episode where they were finally started showing the Blue Eyes White Dragon and stuff like that. There's only 3 of these now, and ripped up the 4th one. And my dad came home and I had played Pokemon before that. And I was like, Dad, you have to take me to the card store to see if they have this Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. And so he took me there, and I got there. And so, I was 14 at this time, and when I got there, he had 3 Kaiba starter decks left. And in my head, I was like, oh my god, there's only 3 Blue Eyes, and I got all of them. And in my head, I was like, no way, I got the 3 Blue Eyes before anyone else. I am sick right now. And it was just a coincidence. So I got those, and I had the starter decks, and then the next week my grandma bought me some packs, bought me and my brother each a couple packs, and I pulled Pot of Greed and was like, whoa, this is cool, draw extra cards. And I didn't even know there was a ban list or a limited list at the time where it was limited to 1. But my brother, so I pulled Pot of Greed, and the foil I got ended up being Curse of Dragon. So Curse of Dragon was my first foil I ever got. But my brother pulled Regeki. And I remember trading him a rare for it. And I was like, I'll give you this cool rare monster for it. This is a spell. Who cares? Monsters are cooler than spells. And so my first 2 foil cards were Regeki and Curse of Dragon.
From LOB for me, I'd watched the very first episode on premiere on WB because we always watch WB. I have 3 brothers, so we'd all have to quote unquote behave together to get to watch cartoons. And Yu-Gi-Oh came on for the first time, and I was just blown away. And so Borders doesn't exist anymore, a bookstore.
I used to go to Borders all the time.
Yeah, and there were 6 packs, and I got all of them, and I pulled one of the pieces of Exodia, and I was just running around everywhere screaming. And I played Pokemon before too, which is why I felt like I knew I would like this so much. I'm it's so much cooler. Everything's dark and all these things. And I think my highest attack card out of all of my packs though was Succubus Knight. And I was like, okay, I didn't know until my first tournament in MRD that there were not Duelist Kingdom rules. So when I finally went to a comic book shop, and they make me fix my deck, and I actually beat my first opponent after fixing, because in MRD there were these extremely rare misprint cases, and you'd get 4 to 5 hollows per pack and a rare still. So I walked in, I didn't even know Blue Eyes was in a structure deck, and I trade a Mirror Force for 2 Blue Eyes, and the guy seemed so happy, and I'm like, I have 5 Mirror Forces, what? These are so easy to get.
Speaking of Mirror Force and our first tournament, so my first tournament was when Metal Raiders was around, and I had built a Harpy Lady deck, and in my first round of this tournament, and I guess for some more info, the very first rule book, this is one of my favorite stories to tell, was in the very first rule book, under special summon monsters, it was special summon monsters are unique, and some of them are immune to trap cards, like Trap Hole. And so I went to this tournament, and I played my first round, and my hand was broken. It was a Harpy Lady with double Elegant Egotist, and I was hyped. I summoned Harpy Lady, and I Elegant Egotist twice, and brought out 2 Harpy Lady sisters, and I tapped my opponent, and they flipped Mirror Force. And I was like, okay, my Harpy sisters are unaffected because they're unaffected by trap cards because they're special summon monsters. And
Oh no.
he's like, that's not how that works. I was like, yes, it is. It says in the rule book that they're unaffected by trap cards like Trap Hole. And I didn't realize at the time it's because Trap Hole said on the card, like, no, when a monster is normal summoned, not special summoned on the card. So I was like yelling at this other kid I was playing. I was like, no, they're special summoned. They're immune to Mirror Force. And so like the judge came over or whatever, the guy who was like, yeah, they die. And I like left and I was like, screw this. I'm not playing in your shitty tournaments. And I was just so angry.
Yeah, oh my god. Like, I feel like that's universally one of the worst feelings, is like going to an event and thinking you know a rule and it turns out it's not that way. I feel like that's one of the straight up worst feelings in the game.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough time for my Harpy ladies.
1 second, I've gotta go return a dog to the bed since it wants to just sniff around everywhere and get in my face. Alright, Bonnie, go over here. Ooh. Let's see. Do we have any more questions, my dudes? Would you be fine seeing Necros come off the ban list? Like, everything, or just, like, sure it back to 1/2? Because Necros are actually, like, I see people testing them with, like, the new stuff.
Yeah, I definitely tested with Necros when those new, like, the
incantations.
or whatever, incantations came out. And, sure it could probably come off, but, I never want to see Unicorn back.
Yeah, I feel like the stun aspect is a little strong. Like, we don't want to see similar to Gen/Unicorn control, I feel like. Because something that just generically negates everything from the extra deck is so much more powerful today versus even back then, because, like, you've limited decks like Cosmo to where they could barely play. I guess True Draco could play, but we don't need that to be the deck again. Or
like, if you just summon a Unicorn now, like, still, like, now, like, a lot of decks still can't do anything. Like, I'm pretty sure that if you summon Unicorn from turn 1 against just a Unicorn against the Goki deck, I don't think they can win or do anything.
Yeah, they'd have to be playing Moon Mirror Shield as an equip right over. The tech equip, play the Moon Mirror Shield for the Unicorn matchup.
Yeah, I think they have to go like Suprex and like the Goki who boost attack to like.
Oh, sorry, I missed this donation. Doggo hype. Boss Player 23 says, "Do you watch the Brains anime?" Which you answered earlier. If so, what's your opinion on Yu-Gi-Oh animes in general? We kind of touched on this earlier, but you might not have been here.
Yeah, I definitely. I've missed like probably like the last 5 episodes of Reigns, but I have been watching it. I like them. Obviously, like there's like was it
Yeah, you died again.
Zexal was like really bad. I like a lot of them. I like the first series, and I like 5Ds a lot, and I really like Vrains also.
I feel like I don't know, for me, like it's so basic, but I love the original, and like I liked the aspect where they were going for different games in season 0 too, despite all the seriousness, like in terms of like having more life-threatening situations, I guess.
Right.
But I feel like capsule monsters, that was kind of a cool concept too, even if it kind of ripped from Pokemon.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that.
But like they did it, the anime version of like what didn't they like do like an 8-episode special that was supposed to be a movie on that?
Yeah, I definitely didn't watch all of that, but they definitely did.
Yeah, like they ship crash, the villains with them all along or something, and oh, anime. Show some love for GX. I did earlier. GX, I'll chill out in the schoolyard. Oh man. Didn't Yami Yugi legit kill 7 people? Something like that.
Something ridiculous.
But he got Joey a red eye. Oh man, I actually have. I didn't know they existed until recently, and I had to have them the moment, even though they're so small. There's a 1999 set of coins released for the movie that are red eyes and blue eyes, and they are so cool.
Oh, that is very cool.
Yeah, they're like the original Toei stuff. Just I don't know what it is. Maybe the less practiced art. Maybe I don't know what it is, but I really love it.
Yeah, that stuff is really cool. I like all that older stuff.
Redundant Taya never got brought over there, and the blue-haired girl, what's her name? I don't know. It's basically like having two Tayas.
Basically.
Yeah, and that's why she didn't make the final cut, I'm assuming. Is this the Jeff Ask Me Anything? Yes, it is. Feel free to ask away. Any donations still are going towards the suicide prevention charity, and they are all 100%, as long as you're donating through Tilify, are 100%. No fees, no anything. The money will go directly to them. Let's hear. What's Jeff's favorite format where he did not win an event?
It did not win an event. That would be... Oh, I guess it would be DUEA. The DUEA format is definitely one of the... I guess when we were talking about good formats, like, I love DUA format. That's one of I think, the best formats ever. When Necros came around, it was like a little bit like, but I guess it would be DUA format where I did really well with Shadalls. I topped a lot of events and did really well with Shadalls, but I never won. So that would definitely.
Yeah,
be
Shadalls were that's the deck I played also, and it's just like they weren't the better Floodgate deck where BA could kind of shove a ton of those in.
Yeah, I made like the Shadal deck for that format. I actually kind of innovated was like the Danko Shadal deck with
you have someone calling you out. You won an ARG with BA Monarchs in DUEA format though.
I did win with BA. Well, that was like, I guess that was like the start of DUEA. I did do that. I forgot about that. Yeah. But after like the full DUEA stuff was like fully out, I never really won anything after that, I guess. But
what's your favorite vanilla monster?
Ooh, it is God, what is it? Is it vanilla? Is that a normal?
Vanilla is a normal.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Also, what's your favorite flavor of wings?
Of wings? So I really don't eat wings too often, but if I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I will get spicy garlic wings.
I'm a teriyaki man.
I almost got some the other day, but someone told me not to get them.
Some people don't like teriyaki. It's sweeter. It's like my range is like teriyaki, garlic parm, lemon pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not big on spicy with wings,
Sure.
Because you're gonna keep putting them against your lips time and time again. Let's see here. Opinions on March 2012 format: Dino Rabbit, Insectors, and Chaos Dragons.
Ooh, that was kind of a cool one. I mean, it was like not as good as some other ones, but during that format, I played Chaos Dragons. I loved that deck, and I hated the Dino Rabbit deck though. I just couldn't. I hated Macrocosmos. That's what I hated. Whenever they flipped Macrocosmos to Logia out, I was just so angry.
Okay, so I have Burden One has a question, but I do have a point to the second part. What would Jeff do to improve the game, and what's his opinions on the formats getting faster every year in general? I feel like the faster part's not necessarily right, because Zodiac lasted a very long time, and then Spiral started to last a very long time. But overall, like, what do you think about how to improve the game and on the formats like that?
Well, I mean, you definitely have to start by hitting a bunch of cards. But the thing is, by hitting a bunch of cards, they're always going to print broken and like abusable cards. So it's something that has to be managed. You could try doing like like cycles, like doing formats like that, where I don't even know how you would do it in Yu-Gi-Oh, where they cycle stuff out. That'd be interesting. I'd love to try Yu-Gi-Oh like that, but you'd have to hit a bunch of stuff on this forbidden list, like Firewall Dragon. Like the cards I want to go the most are Firewall Dragon, Gumblar, Nightmare Goblin, and Soul Charge. I think all those cards will just keep causing problems in the future. They'll only get better as more cards come out. And then even like cards like I think like Trigate Wizard might have to go, because it's a card that just nothing good comes from. it can only be used for degenerate stuff.
I just want to say thank you so much, Space Dandy, for donating 120 with just the message I'm back.
Oh wow!
Thank you so much. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you, man. By the way, I will say this for Space Dandy. Somehow he's the only one through all my raffles who is up lifetime on raffles, and I can see him spacing them out here. I see it. But thank you so much. We have I don't actually know what that is. Pierogi. Have you ever ate at Pierogi?
Pierogi. I don't know what that is. No, is that like a?
And
pierogi?
Before it's like a bofa question or something.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh no. I want to donate. Here, I'll get the link for Twitch chat as well, or YouTube chat. My bad. I don't have like a bot that's able to post in YouTube. I can only mod people, but they can also like edit comments on my channel. So I only do that with very, very few people because that's kind of my living. So there's your link. Anytime, just ask. Pierogi's Russian and Polish food. So I guess it's. So I haven't tried it.
No, I haven't tried it either. I don't think I have any in Michigan. I might, but not know where they are. But that's really Polish food is pretty good. I've had Polish food before. But
what card or archetype would you like to see made that doesn't exist already?
Card or so something I've been waiting for, and I hope that they do, is most recently Konami made had the newest Bomberman on the Switch, and I'd love to see a Bomberman archetype.
That'd be pretty cool. It's been a stressful day. Well, I hope things get better for you, man. Would you ever consider playing a different TCG? If so, which one?
Yeah, I've played. I played like basically almost all of the card games that have existed. I just love card games in general. I always come back to Yu-Gi-Oh! As my main card game, but I played Magic. I played Pokemon. Actually, a game, I think one of my favorite games ever, and whenever this kind of thing comes up, that existed, and this is Billy's too, was the Yu Yu Hakusho TCG.
Billy has like almost everything from that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Like I loved, like the Yu Yu Hakusho was one of my favorite animes, and that card game was just so good. I loved that game. It ended up going downhill. They had like a Yu-Gi-Oh problem where they just kept releasing these super broken cards with super broken combos, but
Have you watched Hunter x Hunter at all?
I have watched Hunter x Hunter. It's one of the best animes also.
Yeah, it's by the same guy.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that till recently. Then my fiance loves Sailor Moon, and she starts going on, yeah, he also married the creator of Sailor Moon, and started lecturing me on all this stuff I should know. And I'm like, oh no, I've anime faux pas. I've messed up. But yeah, apparently people keep trying to get them to work together, and they just don't do it in terms of like that. But like that, everybody just wants them to collab,
right?
But like Hunter x Hunter definitely. But like in terms of card games, like I felt they in Hunter x Hunter they like had a card game made in it, but they never, I think, really turned it into something here.
Yeah, I don't think so. At least not here. A lot of animes do get card games in Japan, but they don't last for very long.
Yeah, with Dragon Ball, like, this is the first Dragon Ball game that I feel like is starting to run longer. Like, wasn't the curse before, like, 2 years or something?
The very first Dragon Ball, I feel lasted a good amount of time, but it was ran by Score, which is also what ran Yu Yu Hakusho, and they're just notorious for running games into the ground. And I think it was Score anyway. I'm almost positive it was Score. But the very first Dragon Ball, Alex Vansan loved the very first Dragon Ball. Like, he was super into it and had a bunch of the older cards. And then when that game died and they brought it back and just kind of changed some things, and that lasted like a year. It basically was only like played by the people who played the old one, and no one knew. And then that one died, and then Dragon Ball Super came out, and Dragon Ball Super is kind of like piggybacking off the success of the anime. So, I know that kind of recently, I've seen like kind of a dip, at least around me, in the Dragon Ball Super community. And I think a lot of that has to do with how the anime isn't on right now. So I think when that new movie comes out, you might see like a bigger like a
I wanna,
insurgence of the game again.
when you feel for a heartbeat, like it also happened with Funko Pops. The Funko price pops went way up as the show was ending, and they've come like back down on certain ones. So I do think there was a lot of hype behind the show translating into I can't get enough Dragon Ball, and like we actually I feel like we haven't had a surge like that for a card game since Pokemon. And
no, absolutely not. And Pokemon does like the same thing. Every time a new game comes out or something like that, like the insurgence of Pokemon for the TCG goes way up again. So
is what the most complete card game? Oh, the like competitor. You're talking about Magic. Let's see here. 2 questions for Jeff. What was the worst format you played? And I think you've answered that. 2, what card from the OCG do you think could come into the TCG to push their specific archetype to high tiers?
Is there like, I don't think there's any like archetype cards really.
Yeah, like pretty much everything supporting similar stuff to here. Like the new Dino Wrestler ends up as like a side deck or a main deck thing for them, depending.
Right, yeah.
And he answered Gladiator Beast in terms of the format he liked the least.
That one, the format with X-Sabers, Infernity, and Frog FTK.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad too. What's your opinion on floodgates in general?
Depends on the floodgate. I mean, some are too good, some are okay, some are annoying at times. I think it's just part of Yu-Gi-Oh! When you get things like Vanity's Emptiness, it kind of, that's where you go like too far. Like Imperial Order is still a card, like at times is way too good. Same like Anti-Spell. Like with Anti-Spell, like there are certain decks that can just like never out that card. So that's kind of a card that should like kind of, I feel like should go away. But like things like Rivalry and stuff like that, I feel like those cards are fine because like you have like there's like outs to those a lot easier than something like Anti-Spell Fragrance.
Avion, do you mean the speed duels? You have to be a little more specific on what you mean with that. And also thank you to Edwin Rodriguez donating 45 saying remember love is the key. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Do you think the game's getting more complicated, makes it harder for newer players? And what about making the placement of cards? I guess you mean the zones, like how we had Pendulum Zones a format ago, now they're somewhere else? How do you... so, like, I guess they're asking, how do you feel about the current game board and how complicated the game is?
Well, it's definitely something that is not good for introducing new players in the game, and it's something Konami has struggled with for a long time, is introducing new people to the game. And I definitely don't think Link summoning was the way to go about it.
I feel like they've done a good job of injecting a deck that doesn't use the extra deck consistently recently, though. Like Monarchs, True Draco, Cosmo. They've done a good job of putting here or there a deck that doesn't really look at the extra deck as much, I feel like.
Is there one right now? I don't really think there's one.
True Draco's still topping regionals, but I haven't seen it do too well at YCS's.
Yeah, that's like something that like they haven't like invested time into, though. They haven't like released something that doesn't use the extra deck, and I don't think that they will. Now that Link something is a thing, they might, but I just don't really feel like it.
Yeah, like Inspector Border was close, but it's just not great enough on its own and got abused in True Draco along with the mono. I feel like, yeah, the extra deck just offers so much power. You're literally ignoring 15 cards to play another strategy. So the power that you have to give a deck to ignore the extra deck is pretty out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think the last one that was kind of like that, besides like True Draco, was like Cosmo, and I know that Japan hates Cosmo. So,
oh no,
yeah.
Somebody actually has a good one. Favorite boss monsters?
Favorite boss monsters? That is... So that's, like, kind of weird, because boss monsters have changed so much, over the period of, like... Because, like, now, like, it's really hard, because when you think of boss monsters, you think of stuff like Judgment Dragon or Dark Arm Dragon, and, like, not only do those cards like not get played anymore, like the boss monsters are kind of like they really don't exist anymore almost. Like, you have like extra deck monsters, but like those don't even feel like boss monsters anymore because they're just so easy to get out, right? You
Yeah,
don't have to,
like Trident doesn't feel like a boss monster.
right, like
Zoo.
yeah, when you look at like a Trident, like Trident is like, who cares about Dark Arm Dragon when you have Trident? It's like just completely makes it so boss monsters lose their effectiveness. They lose like their awesome feel for summoning. Like when you summon Judgment Dragon, you feel really good. When you summon Dark Arm Dragon, you feel really good. You don't like feel good by summoning a Trident. You don't feel good by summoning a Borlo Dragon or a Boral Sword or anything like that. So it's really hard to say what my favorite boss monster is.
Yeah, because a boss like appears in a sense instead of you having on-demand access. Even in True Draco's, like you diagram searched out masterpiece. Like it's not like you worked up to it and then you got there and it was so hard. Almost everything pops down in a turn.
Yeah, boss monster really like kind of lost its like meaning over these past years.
Somebody on the subject says opinion on Darkest Diabolos.
Is that the
Layer of
Darkness? That's the
Darkness
newest one, right?
Yeah, it ended up getting used in Pure Sky Strikers. By some duels.
Yeah, I don't like it in Pure Sky Strikers, but I like the card in general. I think that card's really cool. I liked all of the new Dark cards. I thought it was going to be like really good, but it ended up being shit. So I was surprised.
Yeah, I've never seen so many buyouts for a deck that did not perform. Like, ridiculous. Anything that said the word tribute. Mystic Walk was even being looked at.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and I've never seen it just. I'm gonna chill over in tier 3 for a bit.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I expected like pretty big things from that deck, at least for like the first month of me hearing about it. I was like, whoa, like this field spell is crazy. Like I can tribute my opponent's monster, take control of another monster that is broken, and then it just never did anything.
VTA, thank you so much. It says broke college boy or I donate more, but it's for such a good cause. It's the least I can do. Thank you so much. If it's a lot to you, it's a lot to me, man. Like never be sorry for or even come close to apologizing for donating. Thank you, man. Thank you. 2 questions at once. What do you guys think is something Yu-Gi-Oh does better than other TCGs? I play Magic nowadays, but I hate getting mana screwed, and I relish the feeling of being able to bluff as much as I did in Yu-Gi-Oh. I want to answer something real quick, and it goes to general gaming. I think a huge complaint about like CSGO or other games versus Fortnite is in Fortnite you almost automatically have a weapon and at least have a chance to fight, where in other games you don't. Yu-Gi-Oh kind of feels like that in the sense that you automatically have the resources in hand when you draw them, and a quote-unquote brick is where you can't combo off, but you could even still try to like protect yourself. So like at least you can almost always play a card in Yu-Gi-Oh, unlike like in a lot of situations in certain fighting games where you get blocked off and you never got to push a button because you got attacked on incoming or automatically hit somewhere, and then your new character comes in, they're already in a trap, your new character comes in again, and then the game's over. It feels a lot like that, but with Yu-Gi-Oh, you almost always have the chance to quote-unquote push a button. You always have a chance to play the game. And what would you say is your favorite part about it, Jeff?
That is very close to what I would say. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you can always do something, which is funny to say because like right now, like you can't always do something. But in general, you always have cards you can play. You're always doing something. And that's what makes Yu-Gi-Oh fun, is that interaction of always like there's always something going on. Whereas in Magic or something similar that's resource-based, something isn't always going on. You have to you play mana, pass, like play another mana, play a guy, pass. That it's a very slow game and there's not always something going on, so it doesn't feel as exciting. And I think Yu-Gi-Oh really does that well, is it makes the games feel exciting even when like they aren't in formats like right now. And that's like something I've learned when like building my game, is that like I think the biggest flaw of Magic, and the only reason I think Magic is as big as it is now is because it was like the first card game, and so people are going to keep playing it. I think Magic is a very flawed game. The resources in your deck like it make it for very weird things to happen. Getting mana screwed or mana flooded, having the resources in your deck is just like such a bad way to do it. And I think that Force of Will really did that right, where how they did their resource system. And I think Force of Will was probably one of the better designed games, but the people making it were not very good. So that is how I feel about.
I actually
how
don't
you
know if
said
this
better.
was asked. Are you going to the 200th YCS?
I am going to 200th. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't. Billy doesn't know yet. Like, if he works for Konami, he's going to go. But if not, he's like, my wedding's the same day, so I can't go either.
Yeah.
Big oof. But like Emily said, they purposely put it on the same day. They should have planned better. Let's see here. Favorite breakfast before a big event? Do you have like a routine now?
I do not. So in general, I do not like breakfast foods. The closest thing to a breakfast food I will eat is cereal. I really don't like eggs or anything like that. I don't eat a whole lot of. I'll eat toast, I guess, sometimes, but I really do not eat like eggs or like breakfast bacon or like anything in the morning. Like the first meal I usually eat is around noon. When I wake up, I don't feel hungry until around that time, maybe even later sometimes. And I don't eat before events. It's like part of my little ritual is that I just don't eat at events at all until after the event.
Let's see, you're stuck at work but here for lunch. Thanks for tuning in, Captain Aaron Cooper. Let's see here. We have like a card conversation. What's your favorite? Okay, so like this is a hard one because like there's arguments that playstyles don't exist, but I kind of think like there are decks that have specific like elements to them. Do you like a control deck, an aggro deck? What kind of deck do you like more?
Yeah, so like I agree. Like that having that playstyle conversation is kind of weird because it's just the way Yu-Gi-Oh is. But I definitely like the more control aspect decks, which is why I really like Sky Striker. Like that's like my deck I play right now. So it's very much a control-y kind of grindy deck, and I like that.
Do you agree that the winter formats are worse than the summer formats? For me, like I think there's been a lot of gripes about WCQs. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the winter formats are usually better, and they always seem to go to like really shitty by the time the summer comes around.
Yeah,
like that's way more common.
I feel like they tried to do more during the winter, and then they tighten up for WCQ. This is how I feel like it might go, but I have no idea into their heads. Let's see here. This is the Burden one ask, is there a reason bad cards are still on the ban list? Is Konami just being slow, or are there legit tier 1 decks they don't want being built? Like, I guess an example for me is like, why is Book of Moon still there with Lynx being a thing?
So, yeah, I can answer this question fairly well, at least better than other people, I think. So there are some cards that are on the list because either someone doesn't like them sometimes. Book of Moon is a card that Konami really kind of like fears because anytime it's ever been off the list, it's always been played in almost every deck. I don't think that's the case right now, but that's kind of like the mentality I know for like Book of Moon has been in the past. But there are certain cards like Time Seal, like that card doesn't need to be on the list anymore. There's a couple more, but I think in general a lot of the cards that are on the list now like deserve to be there. But the amount of changes that can go onto the list are actually like limited most of the time. So if a list, say like there needs to be X amount of changes, those changes fill up the amount. How do I explain this? Basically, like let's say like for example, they're allowed to change 20 cards at a time. If 20 cards need to be limited or something like that, they can't afford to like waste one of those slot changes on doing something like Time Seal, which isn't consequential anyway. Like Time Seal's on there, and if it came back, it wouldn't matter anyway. So don't waste one of the slots that they have for changing a card to for Time Seal. So I know that a lot of times I've heard that they just have a hard time with the amount of changes they have to go through.
I haven't seen the exact quote, but I've heard it like several times. Somebody said that the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh wants to bring every banned card back once at least in the OCG.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah, I have heard that. I don't know if it's true. I know that
it seems to be happening.
I know that for here, I know Konami US tries very hard. Konami US can get like a lot of shit, but I know for a fact that the people there try very hard, and they try to do their jobs well, at least the best that they can. But for things like when we got Snatch Steel back, we didn't want Snatch Steel back. Like that was like Japan forcing it on us, and so when we got that back, that was probably part of one of those things. Like we get one of those cards back, and we don't need stuff like that. So hopefully Japan can just take all those cards.
This is a good one. Is there a successful player who you've like disagreed with the majority of their theory and deck building?
I would say I really disagreed with Patrick a lot. He was very successful, and he kind of like had that whole upstart theory going on. There's a lot of things that I didn't agree with Patrick and his theory.
That's fair. Like, I feel like, yeah, he was very outspoken, but at the same time, like, that also reveals a lot about his thought process that makes him successful, too.
Mm-hmm.
When's the GOAT format segment? We already did GOATs. The titles should be about Jeff currently, unless you came back and didn't refresh the stream. Yeah, it's currently Jeff Jones AMA. We actually played Farfa and GOATs right before this.
Mm.
Let's see here. What are Jeff's thoughts on Billy and Hoban as duelist?
Well, I mean, I think they're really play right now. Obviously, you can't take away from either of them. They both accomplished so much. They've definitely deserved to be considered some of the greats in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I mean, you can't really say much more than that.
Okay, this is one for me. How many duelists do you think should be titled Master Duelist? The good old Konami title there.
So that's a question for me.
Yeah.
Master Duelist. I don't know. It's
I think it should be like 5 people. Like 5 is a good number. Sorry, you completely cut out again.
Oh.
You there? We broke Jeff.
Weird. Is that like?
Yeah, you like completely cut out for a bit, and now I can hear you again just fine. It like has a robot-y voice for a bit.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, I don't know what's going on.
It's probably just connection. Now you're lighting up, and I can't see you currently talking.
But as for the Master Duelist thing, is that like a?
Oh, it's a title they gave Billy on stream, like for because I think they like put for Robbie like World's Competitor and stuff, but like they put Billy as Master Duelist when they have him on.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think it's in the part of my house that I'm at that I have like poor connection. But I think that 5 is probably a good number. That seems like right to me. I didn't even know that was really a thing that they did.
Let's see here. What's where is it? Which part of dueling do you enjoy more, the deck building or gameplay?
Definitely deck building. I love building decks. It's like pieces. So when I say Yu-Gi-Oh! And play Yu-Gi-Oh!, it is like pieces of a puzzle, and I'm kind of putting them together. And that's the part I love about deck building.
Do you think there's a sleeper deck for the 200th, or is the format so defined it won't be interesting? Let's assume it's the same list, I guess.
If we use the same list, absolutely not. Everything's pretty much there.
Yeah, I really actually like. I remember at the old times, like the best events were either right after a new list or actually towards the end of the format. The craziest stuff would happen, like when Kenny So won with Burn and Troop Dupe.
Yeah.
Like it would always be like a really big surprise at the end. So I guess like people might be wondering if there's something, but like with the like we were talking about it earlier, the spread of information today, even we can even look it to the OCG for like surprises, quote unquote, like. World Chalice winning in Europe, I don't know that would happen in the USA as much.
Yeah, I don't think so at all.
Like, I feel like people are prepared a lot more for like rogue matchups here, or things they haven't like seen. I feel like the local scene here, like people are there like trying to grind stuff. Like I know there's a tuber, Phoenix Flare X, who like exclusively plays World Chalice over here and like shows combos and stuff. So like I just feel like people maybe like go for that more. Okay, a question from me to Jeff. What do you think should be the advice for a child like myself to top a YCS? I've only been to one so far, and I day 2'd bubbling the last round. Is there anything I can do for the last stretch?
So I don't really think it has anything to do with you being a child. It just, for anyone, the only way you can get better is just by playing. It's like such a like simple answer, and a lot of people don't like hearing it, but there's no like super big secret to getting better at the game. There's no, it's like people like, it's like when you see those like infomercials for like losing weight and like taking a magic pill, there's no like, well, I guess this is like a bad analogy talking about magic pills, but there's no like super big secret to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh! The only way you can get better is by playing more, playing with people that are better than you. And you really have to get into that mindset when playing, because I definitely have friends who have like also made it to that final stretch where they make it to day 2 and they just shit the bed and they can't like finish it out. And it might be a mentality thing. So that's something you have to deal with more personally, because I don't know what your mentality is going in to that day 2. But yeah, that's kind of it.
What's your best ever match that you've won, and your worst loss in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Ooh, there's so again, I've played this for so long. There's so many of them. I think one of my favorite wins was this has to go with my Grand Soil deck. I was in top 4 of that YCS, and we were going into time in the last game and Solemn Judgment. And then on my last turn of time, I summoned Psychic Life Transfer, which allowed me to gain 1,200 life points and win in time. And that was like really cool. And that's when I turned to Jason Gravenmeyer and was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did it!" And like I was so happy. But that was like a pretty cool win. And for one of the worst losses, I guess at Nationals this year, my loss in Top Cut was like pretty bad. It was because I was playing Sky Striker Trickstar, and all 3 games I drew like almost unplayable, and I like didn't even like play a card in Top Cut, and so that was pretty sad.
Yeah, that's I remember kind of similarly you versus Scott in Top Cut.
Oh my god, that's a really bad one too. Oh my gosh, that happens a lot when I get into Top Cut. Like I'll just my hands will just be unplayable. Like my game against Scott, it was like 3 Aether, the Heavenly Monarch, like a Garnet, and like a Twin Twister or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Thank you so much, Christopher.
Or triple Karaz, that's what it was, or something like that.
Yeah, it was real bad. What's your favorite game mechanic, if there is one, and what you would like to see in the game in terms of a mechanic, if there's one that's not here already that you'd like?
For mechanic, I guess kind of would be, I really like fusion summoning. That and synchro summoning are probably like my favorite kind of summoning mechanics. As for something I hope for, so many games do it, and I'm surprised that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has not. I actually was like fairly confident that the next mechanic wasn't going to be link summoning. I thought that they were going to do flip cards, where you flip a card over and it's a new card. Almost every other game has done it, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Hasn't, and I think it'd be really cool for Yu-Gi-Oh! To do that.
So, like, the card has 2 sides?
The card has 2 sides, yeah. Like, you do something, and something special happens, and the card flips over.
Ooh, that is pretty cool. I guess, like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really strict on the back of your cards compared to other games.
Yeah, I guess that is true. But, I mean, it's a pretty easy thing to, like, as long as you can't see through your card, like, your deck is fine. Yeah,
you have the sleeves like that. I remember Jeff winning by baiting a Cliffort Scout activation and using Winds to Burn.
That was a really good one, too. I ended up losing that match, but that's kind of like a cool story, too, where I was playing Shadal's in top cut of an ARG. I think it was in top 8 versus Cliveford. That's actually probably up there. Cliveford's a deck I hate basically as much as Gladiator Beast. I cannot stand that deck. But anyway, I was like in a losing position. I had lost game 1, and my opponent was at 1100, and I had Fairy Wind, and all he had to do was basically tribute for his guy in hand and like bounce my cards and like attack for a game. But on my turn, I kind of whispered to myself, and I was like, okay, he's gonna pay for scout, he'll do this, he'll search that, he'll bounce with tribute, he'll get rid of this, and he'll attack. And I kind of like was kind of like whispering and stuff like that. So because I wanted to get him to pay for Cliveford scout, because if he did, I could change Fairy Wind and kill him. And
oh, sorry, I saw a really good question. Continue. My bad.
no, it's okay. So by me like whispering and like pointing at cards and playing it out, on his turn he ended up activating this Cliveford scout, which let me chain Fairy Wind and kill him when all he had to do was basically attack for game.
What's an older card you'd like to see an archetype built around, similar to like how Thunder Dragons suddenly have an archetype? For me, the Gaga Gigo. That's that for me. I want to see that. What's one you would like to see?
So that is a very good question, and it's great for me because for me it was Sacred Phoenix of Neftis, and that is my favorite card of all time. And when I found out they were getting their entire deck around them, I thought it was so cool. They aren't very good, but it is very cool.
I almost feel like, and people have been on my case, but I'm not crazy, that they're crafting cards for Duel Links here and there. Like, the Legendary Duelists really feel almost specifically, like, towards that. And I felt like the Nephthys archetype might have been, like, crafted for Duel Links, in a sense.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But my theory is that this is not the end of the Neftis. And I have a very good feeling that the next OCG set, or one of the next two, will have more Neftis cards in them and be very good. Because if you look at the last few ones, when we had the Sky Striker stuff, in the next set we had a new Sky Striker card, and then in Japan they made a new for hire Link monster, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I actually got an ultimate of that one. Japan like does not value their ultimate rares. It's so weird.
No, they hate them. I have friends who play in OCG in China and Japan, and they hate ultimate rares. Their favorite rarity over there is secret rare. So,
yeah, the secrets look so nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
I think that there will be a new Neftis card. So
Yeah, I feel like that they looked at what happened with Magibullets and they didn't want that to happen again. Maybe.
yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
Because, like, it's so weird to see, like, hidden Arsenal sets now continue support out into core sets. Like, when you could have just put it all in one package, it's almost like there's something for later, which I like. I personally like. I don't feel like that's splitting it out. It's like not even an expansion. It's like, hey, there's something coming. Like, you'll enjoy it, I promise.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And I think it has to do a lot of like making sets better. So like imagine like the Sky Striker set was already super good, right? Had a lot of good cards. People were going to buy it. So they had no reason to put like Hayate and that for hire card in that set, because they already knew people were going to buy it. So they would put those cards in future sets to make those cards more valuable, or the sets more valuable.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, Numa has to shave his head for charity. I forgot about that one. Somebody wants to know if you and Kevin Silva are good now. I have no clue how that went after you all made it for charity, which was a good cause.
Yeah, I have not talked to him or seen or really heard about him in years, so...
Yeah, fair. That Cordero video, that's one of his biggest ever.
That is a very big video.
Cards you think are degenerate that people don't talk about. I feel like Soul Charge actually isn't discussed enough anymore, even though like it had its World Chalice moment. Like people, I don't hear it in ban list discussions much. Like, so that's one card you mentioned. Are there any others?
I definitely think a card that is way better than people give it credit for is Nightmare Goblin. I cannot express enough how good that card is, because it, like, when you think about it, like, if you put, a lot of times I like to put things into terms if you talk to people. Like, let's say, like, you didn't know Nightmare Goblin existed, and I were to tell you, what if I told you that there was a card that you could search for whenever you want, that when you summon it, you got an extra normal summon? If you told that to someone like that, they'd be like, that card seems ridiculous. And then you go, okay, it also says that cards next to it can't be targeted. And you'd be like, whoa, this card seems amazing. And that's what Goblin is. It is a searchable double summon that takes almost like nothing of investment for real. And when you talk about like the U-Link boards and the extra linking, U-Links aren't as scary when you can target all the pieces. And that's the problem that Goblin has, is that you can't target the cards to even try to break the U-board. So a searchable double summon, or like a double summon you can access whenever you want, that also protects all your stuff from being targeted, I think is way too good. And I don't think enough people understand that.
Hey Jeff, besides Sky Strikers, I don't know if you play the Tricksters in them. What other deck are you looking forward to?
So I was really looking forward to the Thunder Dragon cards. I think they're really cool, but they aren't as kind of... I thought it was going to have like a lot of different plays, but in general, that deck only kind of does one or two things. So I don't actually know how fun it's going to be, but I really like those. I'm really looking forward to the Nefties cards also. I'm trying to think, what else is coming out kind of soon? Do you know anything off the top of your head?
What's coming out? I know the Cyvers are getting a whole Code Talker deck, and then like they're getting these cards that like can be used as link materials from hand.
Yeah, I saw those.
And then you also have they have the Fusion Cyvers cards, so that like they're hitting everything slowly. They've done Ritual, now Fusion, so it feels like they're gonna go Cyvers through everything. Is my prediction. Like they're gonna go Synchro, Xyz, etc. Even into Pendulum. It feels like eventually throughout.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think there was a theory that also Prank Kids. So I really do not like those cards very much because they remind me of Ritual Beast, and I hated the Ritual Beast deck. So
that's fair.
But I do acknowledge that they're kind of cool and they're kind of quirky and cute. But it's very similar to the Ritual Beast deck, and I just didn't like that deck.
Let's see here. Is his favorite card still Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys? Is that your favorite card of all time?
It is my favorite card of all time, yes. It'll never change.
Nice. I don't know if you were there. This is 2007 Houston. I don't know if you traveled out to that one. But Evan Vargas was running down the hall screaming that he was the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys.
Oh my goodness.
And literally running down, and he's he's screaming it, and he's just yelling out all these cards and calling them -1s, and then he fell down and screamed about Bottomless Trap Hole.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's my funniest moment ever, thinking about it.
I'm sure that most people listening don't even know who Evan Vargas is.
Oh my god. This guy's one of the original features ever on metagame.com talking about Soul Exchange in the game.
Oh my gosh. I have a funny story about Soul Exchange also in Evan.
Yeah, so this guy is he's older than me at the time, but he's still he's young. He's probably 20 at this point. And he's just running around pretending to be the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. Oh, it's literally one of, and I remember Chris Perovic's in the lobby teaching people about something, and you just see him running around. Oh, that has to be one of the best moments in Yu-Gi-Oh for me.
Jeez.
Oh man, what's your story about Evan?
Oh, it was so he was one of the first people to play the Soul Control Monarch deck, and he was sitting there bragging in a group of people I invented Soul Control, blah 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 blah, and then Paul Levin was standing there and he's congrats, you invented a card. You invented the ability of using a card that tributes monsters for cards that require tributes. You're so cool. And
oh man,
I was oh Jesus Christ.
Let me see. This thing keeps appearing and I keep having to erase it. There's the Streamlabs is super invasive with its link, so I have to keep destroying it. Let's see. Somebody, Spy Costume Cat donated saying, just want to donate for a good cause. Love your content. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, all donations today, if you're tuning in, you're new here, every single bit is going to the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. The Tilify link goes directly to them so that there's no fees and nothing gets taken out. And there's also awesome raffles for you guys to win. And right now we have Jeff with us for an AMA. Been super gracious, stayed longer than at all expected. And Chris Perovic, he's the one who kind of rejuvenated Ghost, speaking of that, and was super active. I believe he was doing something with Konami to help younger people learn about the game, because I know Simo did something with him at like one of those events, like going around the US and helping for a bit.
Oh, did Simo do that?
No, Simo like helped Chris, because Chris did that in Vegas, and like he was stopping at different places to do that.
Okay, yeah. Originally, so that's like really funny because when Chris was doing that, I was supposed to be the original person to actually do that.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I couldn't at the time because my mom isn't really well off. She's like has a lot wrong with her, so a lot of my time is spent like taking care of her and making sure everything is okay. So at the time when they asked if I wanted to do it, I was like, I'd love to, but I can't because I can't leave my mom for like an extended period of time. And so they're like, all right, well, who would you recommend? And I actually recommended Chris. So. And then he was doing that for a while. I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but...
Okay, so it's a little late in the year, so maybe a year time period. Do you think there will be another top-tier archetype release this year that will succeed Sky Strikers, or will Konami wait till 2019? So I guess it still is this year. But we know most of the product.
Yeah, we know most of the stuff coming out. So the only possible way that would happen is if... obviously, the Thunder Dragon deck is coming out, and that one does pretty okay in OCG. Not as good as Sky Striker or that new Link spam deck that they're playing, but that one still does okay. And also, it would be so something we might not know is like Danger might end up just being really good because we don't know the future cards, so they could just be absurd. So Danger is something that could possibly get up there.
Yeah, like, they also, I guess, could have started on the lower end of Noble Knights, and the next ones are better?
Yes. Well, I have a feeling that's the case. I have a feeling that the next Noble Knight cards are going to be, like, pretty good, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They'd have to be, like, really absurd, honestly. But I'm expecting
that's one of those decks.
Like,
it's one of those decks that were just almost there.
Yeah, they were almost there. They took too long to get their support. It was one of the first TCG decks we ever got. So... they were doing things way differently, where we got like 1, 2, 3 cards at a time, and they just took them way too long to release it all, which is why we started up getting like 10%. So that never happened again.
That's a product I forgot about. What do you expect from us getting our first advent calendar?
Not much. Nothing really. Yeah. Is it like an actual calendar that comes with the cards, or like, because I kind of want to put one up. I think it is, but I wouldn't expect too much from it.
Yeah. Someone keeps mentioning Felgrand in their screen name is Felgrand. They're like, will Felgrand be meta? Magic 8-ball. We have an 8-ball in chat for that one for you.
Let me see. Let me look. It's Felgrand. I wouldn't count on it.
An advent calendar. So in the past, it used to be only over in like the EU/Germany, if I recall, because I think a lot of the cards were German. And you would get super rares of stuff that didn't have a hollow foil, like they did Collude and Sirocco first, and those kinds of cards for popular decks. And then, like, I think Formula Synchron was re-released in there when it was still really high priced over here. Cards like that, and more recently, Norito was one, I want to say, that like was expensive over here, so people started to buy the Advent Calendar Norito from over there. Santa Claus, was that an original release in there?
What was it?
Santa Claus?
It was, yes. That was the first time Santa Claus came out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. EU's got a very few, like, select cards that they had. Like, I remember during Cosmo format, they had a game promo they could play that would, like, revive Dark Destroyer that we didn't have.
Yeah.
So, like, they get a few things once in a while. But, definitely, I think the Advent Calendar usually has cool things, but like so far I think we've seen Jack Frost and like wintry themed stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect too much from it.
But I am curious to know what's in there myself. But yeah, like so far looking at it, it's a cool thing from the past where we would get the cards and play with them, but I don't know. Time Lord's next best deck. I don't think Time Lords are quite there.
Yeah.
They suffer from having 1 to 2 bodies on board at a time, depending on how you've played. It's hard not to name names when you get into the question like this, but how does Jeff feel about players that flaunt their egos or use their tops to grow in their egos and turn ripping into those who aren't as successful? I actually have a story about Jeff in that. So like I was just starting tubing and I didn't understand the difference between tubing and playing, and I wasn't that good of a player, and I was talking about Cordero playing, and then Jeff just like I was like saying that Cordero played bad, and then like Jeff looks to me and he's like, have you seen yourself play? And like I just shut up for a bit and I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not that good right now. Like I was talking as if I was still good, and then talking down also about like kind of a friend in their gameplay, but not like trying to disrespect them, just saying that they currently played bad. So like actually for me, that's a moment where I realized a lot of humility coming back into tubing. Like your words matter a lot more than you might think. And also like it's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players think they're a lot better than they are, and it takes a long time to get rid of that mentality.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I've also been like, I've definitely done that also, where I've said something and not realized how it came off, or didn't really think before I was going to say it, where like I talked about people like being really bad or something like that, or talking down to someone or about something, and that's like not the person I strive to be, but I do have like lapses in judgment. I'm human like anyone else. We all make mistakes. And there are definitely those people that exist. I think those people really are fairly like immature, and they'll grow up. I think they'll realize that eventually like what they're doing like isn't necessary. I don't feel like you need to be kind of like throwing
you don't need to put somebody else down to put yourself up. Right.
Yeah. You don't have to. And like I said, like I've definitely like done that before, and I definitely shouldn't have. And I don't try to be that person. I'm normally like pretty quiet and reserved in like tournament settings. I try to keep to myself. So I definitely can understand that.
This is a good one. Who's your favorite player without a win?
Oh, it's Max.
Oh no.
He'll get there.
Oh yeah, he's so close. It's like you talk about players that deserve it, like you used to mid was on the list. Max is definitely up there. Okay, so outside of relationship bias and Max bias, and Max should be there.
I'm trying to think. So like again, because I don't pay attention to a lot of the scene, Max, like honestly, I didn't even know how many tops I had anymore until like Max like told me kind of recently. I just like don't pay attention to that kind of thing, and I don't pay attention to like other people's tops very often. And like Max keeps track of that kind of stuff, so I rely on him to tell me that information. Like someone will walk by and say something, and I'll be like, "Do we know this person?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is this person. They've done this, this, and that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So for people who don't have a win, who have been doing well, I'm trying to think who's been like doing pretty well lately that I think deserves to win one. I don't like to use deserve very often. I shouldn't use that. I shouldn't use that word. I hate that word because I don't think anyone should have to like deserve to win. No one deserves to win over another person normally. I don't like saying that. God, I don't know. Throw some names out for me. Let me see.
Like Denny Vu from Dank Deals is one person who's like grinded and gone to a lot of events, and I feel like wants to like he still gets like, "Are you Denny you?" kind of stuff. Like, so that's somebody I'd like to personally see do well and like really distinguish himself apart, because like one letter change, they're both Asian, so like people like try to just group them together. I'd love to see him kind of get that, you know, extra oomph and like I did my thing and like get out of that shadow.
Right.
Calvin Tahan, oh boy.
See, like I don't even
Calvin
know,
has an ARG win though.
Okay, so I say I don't even know what Kelvin like. I just don't know what, even my own teammates. I don't know what their like top or win ratio is or anything like that. So
Ed Deception and a Solar or two who don't have dubs.
I'd love for Ed to win. I love Ed. That's probably my person who I did.
Joel White's a good one for me.
Joel White. So I recently played him for like the first time. I played him at the ARG championship, and I played him at the UDS too. And yeah, he was playing his standard Trickstar deck, and I lost to him at the UDS, or I'm sorry, I lost to him at the ARG, and we played again. And then I thought I was going to win, and then the last turn of time, he was able to make our life points exactly the same. We ended up drawing. But Joel's really nice. I liked him, and it was a pleasure playing against him. But I think it has to go with Ed. I just love Ed so much. He's just such a stand-up person.
And he's also a real character.
He loves the game so much, so it's definitely a person.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people like Jesse Cotton. Has he won one? I actually don't know.
Who's this?
Jesse Cotton? He's gone to Worlds twice now.
He won.
Sorry, you completely cut out just now.
Oh, I said, yeah, he won a European YCS. And
yeah, I felt like he did win something. Yeah, winner of YCS London, LOL. Like, okay, I'm slow sometimes, guys. It's the same. Patrick Jones, say the past year of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Had no ban list. Jesus Christ, you could play 3 of any card. How different would it be? It'd be busted. The game would die, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really don't like questions like this. Like, what would the best deck be if there was no ban list? I don't like those questions.
Yeah, well, he won YCS Prague also, somebody said else. London. Okay, 1 second.
Oh, I guess another person would be Mike Albanese. I really like Mike, and I think Mike is really good, so.
Okay, alright. We have a donation, I'll get to that real quick. On the topic of not all Yu-Gi tubers being the best at the game, do you think the most successful players could make Yu-Gi tubing with ease if they back off the competitive scene for content? Like, that's the thing, though. Their drive is to be good at Yu-Gi-Oh!, not to be necessarily known or talk to people constantly. Like, a lot of their drives is to be really good at the game. They don't want to be, like, a personality, per se, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about it before because I go through spurts where I don't know if I really want to play that much anymore, and think, oh, maybe I will do videos or YouTube or something like that and help other people. But I always go back. So
yeah, it's just like Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of doing videos. I feel like it's really hard to do both consistently. Like, I've seen a lot of new people try, and you give it about 3 months, and then there's like a week and a half block of no uploads. And then it's also really hard. It's hard to have an audience you're connecting with, and then still be competitive enough to not want to say your specific build. Or if you're that competitive, you're showing your specific build. Everybody you could play in the building can look up your build now. It's so hard to do that. Versus a game that's, like I said, you can talk during and automated and play. It's really hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darren started a channel. I saw Darren started. Again, I'm not commenting on that specific channel right now because I want to see where he's at in 3 months with tubing. It's really good to see somebody like that step up and try, but I don't want to speak until I see the proof in the pudding of daily uploads throughout 3 months and finding out times to upload while you're gone. I want to see what he does. I do want to see. I'm looking forward to it. Dark Dove says, getting into the game competitively earlier in the year has helped me out. I hope that this small sum can help someone else as much as the game and communities help me. I love hearing that. So many people are kind of down on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, but there's so much good in it. I've been in Discord servers that are literally the most rosy, nice walk in the park, but I feel and this is why I wanted to use Zodiac to do this, the competitive nature of any game, not just Yu-Gi-Oh! Any game brings out the worst in some people, because we were talking about, they want to beat their chest, they want to be heard, and it's multiple communities smash. Yeah. Whenever you're talking competitive, you're talking theory, people want to put their theory above others. It's it doesn't matter what competitive game is, you'll see that almost everywhere. So I love when I hear stories about people where this community has really helped them it's helped me. It's definitely 100% just so great to hear. And again, another sorry I can't donate more. Stop apologizing. Thank you so much, Team COG. $10 is a lot, man. I appreciate it. Don't apologize for giving. You'll just trigger. If you want to trigger me, sure. Keep going, guys. Let's see here. Do you even look at old duel videos on your channel? I do, actually, once in a while. Most recently, actually, like, there's a whole long block of Corey versus Billy, which is their first time playing, and that's actually really big memories for me. Actually, that video somehow out the gate was demonetized, with YouTube's problems even back then, so it's really cool to actually be able to go look back at moments that are frozen in time. It really is. I was thinking about the 200th YCS. What should I do before going? This would be my first event to go to. So that's specifically something we kind of got sidetracked from earlier. What would your advice be to newest duelists heading towards one of the biggest events out there, Jeff?
Yeah, like I said, it's such a really hard question to answer because everyone is like, I'm trying to remember like my first my first YCS was or Shonen Jump, I guess, would be in Columbus, and something I didn't realize was just how long it was going to be. So I think that's something to take into account, is realize that like you're going to be there all the time, so make sure you come prepared accordingly for being there for long periods of time, like a good amount of money if you need water and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really underprepare for how much travel costs in terms of food and stuff, and I see a lot of people end up selling off cards for gas and food. Try to be more prepared than selling off your cards to a vendor after an event, because to quote, the moment round one starts, the show's over and the vendors are buying a lot cheaper. So like, be prepared with money, don't sacrifice your cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess you said hydration's a big one, and
I definitely, it's, there's really like not much you have to do. Like once you experience it for the first time, you'll get into it real fast. Especially because there's really, if you've been to a regional, it's just a bigger regional.
My first regional ever, I could not sleep. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I was up all night, I tossed, I turned, I got there, I was so ready, and I think I actually did decent. I got, like, 18th out of a room of 180, and, like, I was so mad at the end, too, because that's just, like, being competitive-natured, though. Like, I was so mad not to get top 8, but, like, I would say, going back, if I could tell my younger self, like, go in with the expectation to enjoy a day with your friends and really get a feel for what the competitive scene is, what it's about, and like, don't tilt. Tilt is also like really bad. Like, don't blame yourself. Like, cool your head off when you take a loss, or if something happened that you felt shouldn't have happened, don't get angry like at a judge call. You can always appeal. That's a really important one. Newer players don't know.
That isn't important. Just remember, because even Max, up to this day, has like gotten tilted and not appealed a ruling, and he'll like tell me about it afterwards, and I'm like, why didn't you appeal that? So just keep in mind that you always have the option to appeal, even keeping your cool, not getting frustrated. Those are all really good points.
Yeah, the judges are just there to help you. They're not against you, and like they're human. Humans have error, and not all the judges are going to know every single ruling, or something might have changed last minute and they don't remember. So just like, if you are pretty sure of your ruling, it's not really wasting time to appeal to make sure, hey, I really think the ruling is this. Keep calm and try to explain why, instead of like clamming up and like trying not to explain it. Explain why it works the way that it does. Find your words, and don't kind of get tilted in a sense like that. I can't put it in another way. Like, I definitely know I don't get mad over Yu-Gi-Oh! As much anymore. I feel like there's not many. It's usually a person's personality that gets me mad, if anything. I love like dealing with judges, because like I've found a lot of respect for them over time. And question donates 20. Well, thank you, helpful Anon. I appreciate it. But I feel like you have to go back in your younger self to like when you were first starting to go to events, because we've been how many years now? Like over a decade, literally, traveling.
Yeah, so it's definitely like over a decade.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I know you used to own a store. Somebody's asking, what do you do for a living now?
So right now I work with Aergy for creating this a new card game. So I work with them right now. And I also, my job is to be a caretaker for my mom, who's older and needs help getting around. So I get paid for helping take care of her also.
Let's see here. Uh, do we have any more questions? Yeah, Jeff, what's your experience with players? Oh, well, we kind of already answered that one. They were asking how to deal with good players who are also toxic. It's everybody, for me, everybody's human, and you just deal with it the best you can. That's the unfortunate thing about card games. People are the best and the worst things in your life. That's all it boils down to. In all of nature, people are the best and worst things that can be in your life, and sometimes you're stuck across a table. All you can do is be firm, don't shy away from it, but don't be overly aggressive either. Like I said, don't let them tilt you, and that's the best you can do with a player like that.
Yeah, a lot of times you have to remember, and I was talking to John about this before, that a lot of people forget, or that the good Yu-Gi-Oh players, or like any of the quote-unquote pros, like we're still people, like all of you. We still have we have problems in our lives. We're all still like you, even if we're better at Yu-Gi-Oh. So if you run into someone who's like toxic or not very good, sometimes you just have to try and put yourselves in them shoes, like in their shoes. Like there's maybe a reason why they are like this. So you don't want to like in return be toxic towards them.
Just think about how bad a game of Monopoly gets and then put something on the line with some of these people. Oh, man. This is a good one. What's the most bizarre ruling you've ever encountered at an event?
Bizarre ruling. I can't think of anything.
They usually get so specific that you end up scratching your head over them for a while.
Nothing really been like too weird that I can remember anyway. Like I said, just been playing for so long. There's probably something, but I can't keep off the top of my head. I have no idea.
I remember there was like a recent one with Billy and like I think it was Whiptail and some other stuff. I forget what it was. He probably remembers better than I do. It's like I don't remember their specific ruling thing.
So I guess like I kind of like it wasn't at a YCS where a judge was called and I was nearby and the guy he gets over there and he's like, all right, tell me what happened. He's like, all right, my opponent attacked me and I flipped Mirror Force. Then he flipped his own Mirror Force over, and the judge goes, how? And he goes, I'm using my Mirror Force to reflect his Mirror Force. And he was dead serious, by the way. He's like, why can't I do this?
Oh.
So
it's when your opponent's monster declares, but I get where that came from. I completely get it. Like, it's kind of like your special summon monsters may be immune to traps. It's like, I summon my mechanical chaser, which, by the way, is immune to spells. Bandit Keith taught me this.
Right.
Oh man! Oh, Farfa saying when they were kids, he swears to God that they did that kind of thing. Oh my gosh! Like, there's so many misconceptions when you haven't like properly, I guess, played competitively, and I feel like there's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players out there that are like that big fish in a small pond. And it's very similar to Smash because like there's a really good Smash documentary and I wanted to make it for Yu-Gi-Oh but like you can't film it in venue and it makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, that Smash documentary is like really popular. I know you wanted to do that a while back.
Yeah, I really wanted to do something similar with the competitive scene, but to put it how it is, when you have a group of friends and somebody's the best at Smash, they think they're on top of the world, and then there's like usually somebody above that, and then it constantly changes. Like there might be formats where like say Jeff is like, I'm out, this format's like not for me, and then other formats where he's like, I'm back in, this is mine. Like, but
right.
I think there's always like movement in terms of like what people figure out, even on an ancient game like Melee, where like you see shifts in like who's good, who's not, who's adapted to each other's gameplay, and it really just shows. Even when you have a game that long, that power can shift between people, it's insane.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Do you think there will be a future community ban list like Pokemon, that card game has with Smogon. No, I don't think there will ever be like a really secondary ban list. Like ARG kind of tried it and just caused a lot of confusion, if I recall.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It was one of those things where, like I said, that people don't want to have to like invest into different decks. They just want to use one deck all the time for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like anything that causes confusion overall is bad for a player base, because it's like, okay, I'm going to the ARG. Is it this format, that format? Have they changed since the new Konami list came out? It's I don't feel like we'll ever get like a different current format. Like the closest we would have is traditional, and it's just not even looked at.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think about Soul Charge format? It's he already said it earlier. It's like one of his least favorite cards.
Yeah. No thanks.
Oh man, that was like Sylvans were creeping up at the end, right?
Yeah, like I was one of the first people to play Sylvans. I played it at an ARG and got top. I think it was like top 8 or something. And then my friend who went with me, who played the same deck, ended up winning it. And then Sylvan started becoming more of a thing up until that national season. I love Sylvans. I love playing cards.
Yeah, it's like, oh man. Oh, do you have a workout routine?
Me? I used to. So like 7 years ago or something like that, I was like 230, 240 pounds. And I lost all. I went down to like 160 in a matter of 9 months just from cutting soda and fast food from my diet. And I just started walking. And I don't like sweets very much. So it was very easy for me to like not get hooked on sweets and like do anything like wrong with my weight right there. So like right now I'm like 185 because I've been so busy. I've been like kind of not moving as much. But like in the past 2 weeks, I've been jogging a bunch because it helps clear my head and really reduces a lot of stress. So right now I just I jog every night. So
which rogue archetype is one card away from being insane? Like kind of like I guess Spiral Double Helix.
Sorry, say that again.
What rogue archetype is one card off of being like an insane deck, kind of like how Spiral's got Double Helix?
Ooh, yeah. So like I mean. Danger is kind of like in that predicament where all their cards are very good, so it's only going to take like a few things to like push them forward. So that's one of them. It depends like what you mean by insane, because like Noble Knights could just be one insane card away. Like they could just make something with like 5 effects on it and it would be broken, and next thing you know, Noble Knights are the biggest thing. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Do you feel like Konami's shift in focus to Duel Links will start to take away from the TCG, whether it be card design and archetypes or just general game support? I personally don't think so. I've only seen them create more TCG events like the UDS personally.
Right, yeah. I don't think it'll take away very much. Japan is very much like a big enforcer of Duel Links. But I wouldn't expect it to take away too much from the TCG.
Felgrand, I appreciate how much you love your Felgrand deck, but I'm sorry, we're not gonna. That on a regular stream I might look, but like not today. I'm sorry. Also, we have a donation from I don't want to murder your name, but I think it's Caue. It's CAUE. I've been going through deep depression and anxiety. The stream is helping a lot today. Thank you. Just so you know, you're already helping someone. Much love, guys. Dude, I'm like, thank you. Like,
yeah, like so, like I'm someone who's dealt with depression very much in my life, and so one of the reasons I wanted to come on and do this is because to help people like that. And it's very hard, even for myself, sometimes to realize, but there are people out there who care about you. Like, you matter, no matter what your situation is. There are people who will be there for you. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to come on and do this.
Yeah, when I used to suffer with that a lot more when I was younger, I would almost never really consider the people around me. I would kind of, like, block myself off in a mentality that was thinking that they wouldn't really care. And the fact of the matter is, they do. There's so many people that you hurt when you like go down that path. So like it's rough, and the best thing to do is like talk about it, find a way to talk about it, and get yourself out of that place. And I cannot imagine, because like I can't say that I have anxiety in general. I maybe know even a fraction of the feeling of being anxious about something as like more of a kid, but like I can't imagine that on top of depression. So like, dude, what you're going through, like I just hope you do find a place where you can find happiness, and know that it's not always in your control, but do try to always just reach out and talk to people.
Yeah. So how many viewers do
we have currently on YouTube 198, and on Twitch 152, it looks like.
Okay, so what if I, for your watchers, gave out some really cool information that no one knows? How would that? Would you guys want that? Let's see what the chat says.
I would press 1 if you want, press 2 if not. I'm good, fam.
Yeah, if you don't want any cool info, don't worry about it.
Information question mark.
I think you'll probably hear it here first. So, all
right, we got a lot of ones. We have 2 too.
Okay, and this goes back to Europe. So Europe will be pretty happy about this.
Ooh.
So the next special edition for Soul Fusion will contain Summon Sorceress, Isolde, and Prank Kid Rocks.
Wow.
So that's going to be a very good special edition, and so you're welcome, your viewers.
That's actually insane.
Yes.
So you all do get to deal with a pink-haired lady.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit later, but you'll have some stuff going on for you guys.
Why the fuck would we want Summon Source? Well, at least there's Isolde, which is kind of similar to that Utopia reprint when like it was heavily needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty cool to get on the budget. That's a pretty big announcement. Awesome.
Yeah. So everyone can be happy about getting a broken Summon Sorceress.
Is this a prank? No, it's not a prank, bro.
It is not a prank. No. Yeah, I think you'll find out soon more. So
did Jeff announce Yu-Gi-Oh 2? Well, for Europe, you're about to enter Yu-Gi-Oh 2. All right, Anonymous25, glad I could catch the stream. Do you think ninjas will be a decent rogue pick? Actually, even without their link, they could like do all the crazy U-Link stuff and like try to end with the Avion or some Morg. I don't know if you've toyed around with it at all.
So I really like the ninja cards. I think that's actually a deck that is like one more card away from getting like really, really good. All their new cards are all like above average in power level. So yeah.
Also, Bowden, 2-place World Duelist Bowden donated 20, trying to drag out what LM stands for from you. Also, you have the right to refuse, but it's up to you.
Yeah, it's still a secret. Only a few people know.
Sorry, Bowden, your 20 went to charity in a couple raffles. Oh no. Oh, we've got a ... Oh man. What were the cards? It was, I think you said a Prank Kid.
It is Prank Kid's Rock, Isolde, and Summon Sorceress.
Yeah, that's, as people are saying it's going to get limited, but, like, I don't think limiting does much to Isolde.
No, absolutely not. Like I said, problem with Isolde, it's the other cards. So, and Isolde also, like, limiting Isolde doesn't really do anything, and also it hurts any potential that Noble Knights already has, so...
Let's see here. I think Calvin Tahan should be soon-ish. I'll poke him.
Yeah, I should definitely be starting to wrap up. So if there's any other questions I can answer before I go. I've been on for how long has it been?
It's been almost 3 hours.
3 hours. Oh my goodness, time flies.
Yeah, it's been definitely really great to have you here, though. Like,
no, I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, people easily had over 3 hours a question. That's pretty insane. And Calvin, the champ is here. The great replace is ready. I'm sorry you've been outclassed, Jeff.
It's fine. So
Yeah, vote Calvin. Oh no. Oh man. But thank you so much for joining. And that was a big reveal. I think Europe's
I
gonna
thought it
be
would be a good way to end my time here.